All right, all right. Good morning, the thousands of people joining us today. I'm going to wait a few minutes and let some people come in. So I'm going to step out for a second and just leave you with Starbucks, and I'll be back momentarily. All right, back. I am back. Here I am. Let's see here. What's going on with that? How come I don't see this? There we go. It's a little bit slow. Okay, so if there are any problems with the sound or the video, please let me know. Would appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. It's a Sunday morning here in Bangkok, 9:06 a.m. Right now, it is, as you would expect, quite hot. But you know what? It's 86 degrees, feels like 94, and it's just after 9 o'clock. Uh, 76% humidity. The air quality is good. There's only a 10% chance of rain, but it looks to me like it might rain today, regardless of whatever the weather service is saying. Usually it rains in the afternoon around this time, this time of the year. It rains in the afternoon. Sometimes it just rains for 30 minutes or an hour, and then that's it. It's done. Maybe a little drizzle at nighttime, but that's it. The Thai baht is 30.73 to the dollar, which is good. I hope it hits 31. That would be nice. And the air quality, moderate. It's okay. It's 80. Uh, so, this is what's going on here. There's a lot of things going on. It's flip flopping back and forth about the vaccine and the foreigners. And it's always a political. It's got to be political. Doesn't matter if it's Thailand or where it is, but it seems like it's getting political, and I'll get into that in a second. But today we have Mr. Soy Dog Cowboy with me. Um, Everyone else that I usually have on is currently occupied, but they should be on, say, Tuesday when I come on again. It's if I come on Tuesday, we'll see. Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. I'm going to prepare for a little trip down to the south, as I've been saying. That is going to happen probably in about, what's today? 13th. About 11 days. 11 days, maybe, give or take a couple of days. And as I've been saying, I'm going to go to Krabi. I don't know how much time I'll spend there. I may just go hit a couple islands for a day or two. And then I want to go up to Phang Nga and Khao Lak and then where? Go up to Renong. And from there, there's an island I want to go to. I forget what it's called. I think it's Koh Lam. Koh Lam. Supposed to be very nice, beautiful beaches. So there's a lot I want to do, and I want to make some videos of it. I want to do that. I want to find some good stuff to make some videos of because I want to be happy with some of the videos that I'm making, and I haven't been happy with my videos in a long time. So anyway, today we're going to talk about whether or not Thailand is ever going to regain its former glory. There was a time when everybody wanted to come to Thailand, or people were traveling to Thailand 2-3 times a year, as much as they could, for whatever their reasons. And everybody would come here, and then out of those people that came here, there'd be a large percentage of them that, oh man, I really like to live there, and some of them actually do it. Obviously, we have people that are subscribed to the channel and that come into the chat that live here now or have moved here, and now that seems to be changing a little bit. Thailand has lost a little bit of its favor with expats and tourists, and I don't know if it's going to rebound. I always think never underestimate Thailand, because there's some intangible that the country has and the people have that make it the sort of place where people want to come back. And it's not just the women. That would be the easy answer, but that's not what it is. It's that, what is it, je ne sais quoi? I think that's what it is. It's that intangible something. It's the it factor. Thailand has the it factor. Cambodia doesn't have the it factor. Myanmar doesn't have the it factor. Malaysia, not really. Indonesia, I think, has it. It's probably, in my opinion, the closest placed in Southeast Asia to Thailand when it comes to, like if you look at Bali and all the islands that Indonesia has, I would say it's pretty close. But, it's a completely different culture. So some people love it and some people don't. But we're going to talk about that a little bit and how Thailand has fallen in the rankings. In just about every ranking that I see now, Thailand has dropped because of the immigration rules and the tightening of the guidelines, because of some of the attitudes that have come out. There's just a host of reasons. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I wanted to talk about, the vaccines. Now, if you haven't heard, the boxer Marvin Hagler has passed away. He's only 66 years old. He stopped fighting in 1987, so he was only 33. He moved to Italy, got married to an Italian woman. He was an actor, an action star, big action star there for a while. And, he's kept in great shape. The guy is in phenomenal shape. Apparently, he got the vaccine. I don't know which vaccination it was, but he got a vaccine and he had some reaction to it. He went into the hospital, ended up in the ICU, and he passed away. Now, I don't know if it's directly if there's a a causal effect because of the vaccination, but uh, I personally don't think, even though he's a fighter and he was very fit, his body just had something in it that didn't agree. The vaccine didn't agree with it, and it caused him to become ill. And why he passed away is unclear at this moment. But uh, it's not going to stop me, and I don't think it should stop many people. I'm just not of that school of thought that, well, this person died and that person died. Yeah, but millions and millions of people have taken the shot without um, any serious reaction, other than maybe a sore arm, if you call that serious. So I just happened to be looking through the Bangkok Post today, and I saw that the health minister and the progressive movement leader, Thanatorn, what's his full name? Oh, Juan Rung Ruang Kit, got into a debate online about the truth behind the vaccinations coming in Thailand. And basically, it was on the audio chat Clubhouse app on Friday night. And so the health minister came in, and there was about 8,000 people in the chat, and he started taking questions. And some people asked why the Thai government had chose Siam Biosciences, the local contract manufacturer of AstraZeneca. And the minister explained that it was the AstraZeneca company that had chosen Siam Bioscience as its manufacturer, not the government. And so then this Tanatorn came in, and if you may remember, if you follow the channel, that I went to what was the park that I went to? I think it was the railroad park, the Suan Road Phi, or something like that. Uh, Trying to remember, but it was maybe a year or so, maybe even longer. Yeah, it was longer than that. But I went to the to this park, and Tanatorn was there. He had this big gathering, and then he got banned from politics shortly afterwards. So anyway, he's got a lot to say, and he said, "Kun Anotin, you can't lie to the people like this." So apparently, the government had earlier said that choosing AstraZeneca was done. They chose AstraZeneca because the delivery schedules suited the government's plan. Um, and I guess there's some official documents that say that AstraZeneca is going to fulfill all the orders in 2023. And Anatin replied saying, "How could a deputy prime minister lie to the people?" Well, no, that's pretty easy. I mean, I don't know what kind of question that is, but basically, he's promising 60 million doses are going to be administered by the end of this year. This guy Tanatorn doesn't believe it's gonna happen because the government announced a revised plan on January 5th, where it aims to inoculate only 50% of the population by the end of 2021. However, according to the first plan, AstraZeneca will deliver only 16 million doses this year and another 10 million in 2022. Um, how could it be said that the delivery schedule matches our plan, which has just been changed to 26 million doses, he wrote, hinting the revised plan no longer matched the vaccine delivery timeline. So basically, they're accusing each other of, well, Tana Torrent is accusing the health minister of lying, and uh, basically it leaves questions about um, whether or not uh, they're going to fulfill all their goals, and that and if they don't, then tourists and expats alike, they're going to have problems getting into the country. There, if the people aren't vaccinated, um, then they're not going to allow foreigners to come in without a quarantine. So this is a troubling development. But we'll see in due time, and it's really nothing that we can do. There's nothing we can do about it. Um, so All we can do is wait and see. But let's see here. It said that there's numerous hospitals that have been asking to get the vaccinations. However, they're told that the FDA needs to expedite the approval. That the FDA needs to approve all of these the import licenses, and that it could take up to 90 days to consider their requests uh, for these vaccinations. So, I mean, 90 days, and then you have people issuing these proposals like, hey, maybe in July, once 70% of the citizens are vaccinated, we're going to let everybody in. No, maybe October. Well, if the people aren't vaccinated, they're not going to let anybody in. So, there's all kinds of questions circling around right now. And my only question really is, why is it such a hassle for them to get these necessary vaccinations? I mean, I don't see it in the United States. I don't know. I mean, now it's in full swing. Well, why has Thailand been so slow? It seems to me that they've been very slow um, to implement their vaccination plan. Why does it take months and months? A month, I can see, to start having the vaccinations roll in. But if there's a chance they won't even be, that 60 million won't be vaccinated this year, why is it taking so long? And that's a question. So this is something to think about. Now, on another note, I saw that an American who recently traveled to Phuket and Bangkok has tested positive for the COVID-19 after returning to the United States. The man was tested prior to leaving Thailand, and Thai health officials now say that that result was a false negative. Thailand's Department of Medical Sciences reviewed the man's COVID-19 test that was taken right before leaving Thailand and now says the result is positive for the coronavirus. A timeline of the man's travel history was posted on the Bangkok Public Relations Department Facebook page. The man traveled through Thailand. Throughout February, he was released from the mandatory 14-day quarantine on January 26th and had tested negative for COVID-19 prior to being released. And he then left Thailand on March 4th and tested positive on March 11th in the United States. So he was basically down in the Siloam area. But I don't understand I don't understand why this is such a problem. Um, where it can't they get the test right? What is the problem where they can't get this? They need to work something out to where they have their act together, because for all anybody knows, he could have contracted it while he was in Thailand and been walking around passing it along to all sorts of people. Now, if the people aren't going into the hospital and they're not dying, then what does that say? Okay, so you know, I don't want to get too into the news today. I'd rather just talk about what's going on. That's enough. What's going on with Thailand? Is Thailand going to get better? And are people going to start coming back here? What's going to happen? It's a little bit. I want to try to keep it a little more positive today. I got to make it until I get out of here. That way I can decompress a little bit. Uh, Really, I want to try to stay away from the news, at least the heavy duty news, and getting into it too much. So, on that note, why don't we bring in Mr. Soy Dog Cowboy? There he is.
Hey, there I
Hola.
am.
There you are,
Buenos dias.
live and in the flesh.
Always good to be alive. Boy, what a
Yeah,
sad
well,
news to hear
it,
about
it,
Marvin
it,
Hagler.
it
Eh,
yeah, it
that
being alive beats the alternative.
it does. It really does. Um, you
Yeah, with
know,
Hagler, that's. Listen,
yeah,
Hagler once gave me an autographed picture of him. I don't know what happened to it. I moved and left some stuff behind, and uh, I don't know what happened to the thing. I had a bunch of pictures, but he signed a photo of himself for me. I think it was he was still champion then.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's. I was just reading, all the different articles while you were talking about, trying to find the cause of death, which they're not really releasing yet. But I also watched the clip of the first round of the Hagler Hearns fight,
yeah, it
which
was
was
brutal,
insane.
brutal.
Yeah, I mean,
But
just an
listen,
amazing.
if anyone embodied perseverance and determination, it was Hagler. And what I remember growing up, when I first started really getting interested in boxing, was that he used to run like 10 miles a day, but he used to run the last 2 miles backwards.
Mm,
And I mean, when you think about that, and you think about him running down the street saying, like screaming war, war, when he was, and he had a hat, he would wear a hat around town where the hat said war on it.
yeah, yeah,
Because
I saw that.
he viewed it as preparing, he viewed his training as preparing for a war, you know, pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible story, and he was so incensed when he lost the fight to Sugar Ray. He felt he was robbed. He stopped fighting. That was it. It's like, see ya.
Well, I don't
Uh,
blame him because it was a very close fight, and I think he kind of felt like slighted because and like many fighters did, like Duran did. I don't know about Hearns, but they always thought that like Benitez did also that Sugar Ray benefited from being an Olympian and not being your stereotypical pug. He was they viewed him as a handsome guy who was marketable. And
yeah,
so some of the other fighters took that very personally. And I think, Hagler busted his ass to get to the top. I mean, if you know anything about boxing, um, he really worked hard to get the title. And, he lived off of $500 a month, even though he was a multimillionaire, because he wanted to make sure that he didn't end up like other fighters, you know,
well,
broke,
that's
and, and
smart.
yeah, he was a smart guy. And like I said, he moved to Italy and had an Italian wife. He was a big superstar there. He learned to speak Italian, and you know, what a life. So the good thing is he got out when he was 33, and he got to enjoy some of his life and enjoy some of his money and the rewards of his hard work. So you know,
Yeah, no, it's a great story and great fighter, and 66 is obviously way too young to pass away. More news will come out about that down the road, I'm sure. Um,
yeah.
but so your topic, we've talked about this even prior to COVID. On
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time, not just with COVID, but the
yeah,
COVID has exacerbated things because
absolutely,
it brings things out into the public, and you see it in like mainstream as headlines. Whereas
yeah,
before it was kind of tucked away, or it was like the murmurings amongst expats and things like that. But before I go on here, the asymptomatic nature of the virus is a real problem. To make matters worse, the tests for it are not infallible. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I'm still of the opinion that I believe the doctors because I'm not a doctor. I believe the scientists. Now, I don't necessarily believe like Fauci all the time because he's flip flopping all the time, or it seems like it. But I do believe this is something that you don't trifle with. And I was going to talk about the lady who she was in a bank and
yeah,
she
idiot.
refused to wear a mask. And she said, "No, I got my money in here. There's no law that says I have to." Now, she wasn't. It didn't seem to me she was the brightest lot in the brightest bulb in the lot because it's their property. They can tell her you
Exactly.
need to wear a mask or whatever. However, the way that the policeman handled it, the way that the bank handled it, honestly, the mentality of what I see in the United States now is You do what I tell you, or we're going to fuck you up. And by fuck you up, I mean, we're going to do things to you that really are unnecessary. They may not brutalize her or anything. She was crying about her ankle and all this cut foot or whatever. But my point is, they could have just said to her, "Listen, we understand you don't want to wear a mask, but you know what? Can you go please stand, like to the side of the door, away from everybody? Sign this paper right here, um, and we will give you your withdrawal, and then you can, get out of here." They could have done something like that. The policeman could have said, "Listen, ma'am, I don't want to have to handcuff you." He did say we can do it the hard way, or we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. And like here in Thailand, I don't know. I haven't heard of any of that happening. That kind of a thing where somebody is refusing to wear a mask. Now, I understand it. Listen, I mean, sometimes I'm walking around, I got a mask on. It's hot as hell. Now, obviously, in the bank, it's probably nice and cool, but it's hot as hell, and I don't want to wear the goddamn mask. But when there's people around, I view it as it's my social obligation. It's my duty as a human being to try and make sure that I don't pass along something, should I be asymptomatic, to someone else. And so, therefore, like it or not, I will wear the mask. Now, if I'm uh, out somewhere walking around and there's no people around me, or very few people, anywhere near me, like in the park that I go to all the time down the street from my house, people walk around and the vast majority of them don't have masks on. The reason is they're not walking with someone that they don't know. They're not like walking by somebody and breathing on them. They're completely alone. Okay, if you start walking around people, you go out to where the market is and you're walking through people, you need to put your mask on, hot or not. This lady could have avoided everything by just putting the mask on. And the
I'm
bank and the officer could have um, they could have done things a little differently where they didn't have. And yet, listen, she was the drama queen. I admit that. I will say that. To me, she seemed like a total, a Karen or whatever you want to call it. On the other
Yeah.
side. Um, but
Listen,
they could have
Scott.
done it differently. They need to have some kind of a. I mean, what's going to happen now? What happens now if everywhere in the world, the governments say, okay, no more mask. You don't have to wear a mask. It's not the law, no more. But yet, everywhere you go, they're telling you have to wear a mask. You got to wear a mask into the bank. You got to wear a mask at the mall. How long is that going to go on?
Scott, okay, I watched. I respectfully disagree here with this particular situation. First of all, I want to say that most people, and I mean the majority of people, are doing the right thing. They're wearing their masks. Even look, I'm in Florida right now. It's a very right-leaning state. You got a lot of people that don't want to wear the mask. But you know what? When I go into Costco or I go into public supermarket or go into a mall, everyone is wearing a mask. They just do. They wear it. So, the stories that you see, and we've talked about this on any issue, are the outliers where it makes a good story. So they're going to show that,
Yeah,
you see it on airplanes. That's, I see this, I belong to, on Reddit. I see all these because you see it on, I belong to a group.
yeah. You're a
Public
big
Freakout.
Reddit guy.
Yeah. So
I'm not a Reddit guy.
right. So I'm on Public Freakout and they post all of these because they're incredible. This woman, and was given so many opportunities, prior to her getting arrested. They asked her multiple times, like, come on, like,
Yeah, yeah.
the rule here. And
The fact that they called the police says a lot, because
yeah,
normally the bank, like, drive-through banking, why couldn't she just have walked outside? And I don't know if she walked in, drove in, whatever. She could have just walked up to the window and said,
this,
let me do what I got to do. She could have done any number of things, but she just wanted. I understand it. She wanted to challenge the system, and she was saying, "You people are a bunch of sheeps." Now, here's the thing.
well, don't
I
do
don't
that though.
think that
That's not
people.
your. It's look,
Well,
Scott.
here's the thing. Wait. I don't think that most people set out and say, "I'm going to be a sheep." I think they look at it like, "Listen, is it worth the freaking trouble? I'll put the goddamn mask on. You got a little piece of paper over your face, and if it makes everybody feel better socially, at least for now, we'll wear the mask. It's the right thing to do."
It's, by the way, it's not her choice in the bank. Like, here's the thing. I was at the bank 2 days ago. I had to go pay my
Well, it's her
tax.
choice. She just has to suffer the consequences,
Right.
which she
But,
did.
well, the point is that I was in the bank, right? Just like she was, put my mask on. I was out in 10 minutes, took my mask off. This isn't hard. No shirt, no shoes, no service. This crap has been around forever. All right. And,
Yeah.
people like that just are trying to, they want to die
She's
in.
pushing the limits.
Yeah, it's, they think they're in the right, and they're going to, and to the group that they're in, whether, and this is true of anything, whether it's anti-vaxxers or flat earthers, or or these type of people, they want to show to their circle of friends, that this is something, But she, that video, she's going, oh yeah, look, this is police brutality. The best part of the clip, if you watch it again, is everyone in the bank looks at her and goes,
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
no, it's not. It's like you, like
Yeah,
no.
yeah. They were like, listen, lady, come on.
The cop was hysterical, by the way. She goes, "Is somebody filming this?" And the cop goes, "I'm filming this." Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
she had,
what I thought was funny was, that she used her age. What are you gonna do? You're gonna handcuff an old woman or old 65-year-old woman, And then she started with the police brutality.
yeah,
And
anything.
well, I don't know, but he had to take her down. She was resisting arrest.
She was resisting. She couldn't.
And
That's
it's
the
very
thing.
simple with a policeman. If the cop says, "Put your hands behind your back," just freaking do it. I don't care what color you are, what race you are. Just put your goddamn hands behind your back. And then if you have nothing to fear, then, this is the thing. If you really have nothing to fear, then why would you think it's a big deal? You would be like, listen, I don't like this, but okay, I'll do it because I didn't do anything wrong, and they'll find out, and
Well,
we'll
this is,
figure it out.
I'm sure if we did a nice little search on this woman, she'd be part of those type of groups. And, she
Yeah.
wants to die on this hill. And, this is what it's going to wind up costing her. What's happening is I belong to this other group, which is hysterical, called Bye Bye Job. And it's always, you always see these people like losing their jobs, because they act like idiots. And, it's so silly. It's so silly. We're going to get through this. I don't know how long masks, I would say probably to the end of 2022. But I think after that,
It's going to wear off. People are going to start. Listen, even now I see people walking around Thailand, even in the mall. And every once in a while I see a couple of people that, one or two people or more, they're not wearing a mask. And, listen, they're not near me. So I don't say anything. I don't really care. I mean, I don't want to be the guy who takes everything. Listen, like I always say, you mind your own business, especially here. You mind your own goddamn, short of a woman, on the verge of being killed or something like that, or somebody being killed. And then even then you got to kind of question what you're going to do. Short of something like that, basically you keep your, listen, you let the cops. Remember when the girl came in here and started fighting with the girl? Now I thought about jumping in between and going, hey, get apart or whatever. And then I just thought, you know what? Listen, it's not my. It's she's not really doing any harm. The manager can take care of everything.
Exactly.
It's not for me to get involved with. Mind my own business and just stay out of it. And sure enough, that was the right decision. Fortunately,
damn right it was.
because for all I know, I could have went in there and shoved a lady backwards, and then the next thing you know, she's telling the cops I brutalized her. So
right. Although Starbucks has got enough.
Longhorn says just like all the crybabies that came out against Texas because of the no mask. Every business I've been in is still requiring me to wear a mask.
Right, and so you'll go in and he'll wear the mask, and that'll be.
I think Texas just wants their freedoms, but they don't want to have to be told you must wear a mask when you're out and about, or you're sitting in your car and you better have your mask on. It's like, since when? But okay, you go into somebody's business. There are other people to consider, and while we know that some people are more selfish than others, the bottom line is, if you're selfish in this instance, it could cost somebody their life. And this is the thing. Once you get the vaccine, even then you could still cost somebody their life. And so then that's what makes me kind of go, all right. So when are we going to get through this. But you know what? We've made headway from just the beginning of this year
Yes.
because of vaccinations, because of the loosening of restrictions.
You're going to
Um,
see
but,
this really
but you know,
accelerate very quickly. It's going. You're going. It just is.
all
You're
right,
going. I'm pretty excited about it. I think everyone is. Uh, which brings us to the original topic, right, Scott? Which,
yes,
which goes back to when is Thailand going to? Will Thailand ever get back to where it was? And as we said prior, before COVID, the answer is no. It's never going to be the same. It hasn't been the same. We wax poetically of the good old days in the '90s when clubs were open till 4 a.m. and then you go to another club till 6 a.m. and you know. It was just an amazing thing. Elephants were walking down Sukhumvit. It was
mm,
it was just a different time. For the casual tourists, I think when people feel really safe to travel again and and the economy is good, sure. They don't want to have 40 million people coming to Thailand anymore, probably, as they talked about. They probably want, less than that, but, more money.
well, they've been. That's one thing that they've been saying is that like I forget who it was. One guy said, "Why do I want 10 people, 10 tourists to come in when I can get one that's going to spend the same amount of money that the 10 people will spend?" Now I don't know
Exactly.
if that's true. To be completely honest, because people with money, listen, if it was me, I don't have this kind of money, but if I had the money, I would maybe spend part of the year in Switzerland. I would spend part of the year in some other location. Then maybe I would spend a month or two in Thailand. I wouldn't spend the whole time in Thailand.
Yeah. Well, listen,
I just wouldn't do it now.
yeah,
You
well,
know.
they're looking for, remember they were relying on the Chinese tourists coming in to spend money and then leave. And then that started to dry up slightly, even though it was still enormous in my eyes, but, it was getting less. And they started to say, well, we're going to target the Indian tourists. Um, so, you really are looking at a different way that Thailand is going to be catering to different tourists. For expats, and people for long-term tourists like me who come for winter, things are definitely not. I don't think will ever be the same, and I don't think that it's certainly not as enjoyable as it used to be. I'll still go. I do enjoy
Okay,
it.
okay, okay. Let's stop you right there. Why is it not as enjoyable as it used to be? Give me like 3 reasons.
Okay, there's a bunch of them, and I'll start with the number one is the air pollution is so unbelievably bad. Like I can't get over how bad it's gotten in the last 10 years. Uh, it has accelerated to a point where going outside sometimes is just awful, awful. So to me, that's definitely the number one reason. Number two is when I used to come, even on an O visa, an OA visa, because I'm going for 6 months, I'd buy, reasonable travel insurance. And, it would cost me $350 or $400 for the entire trip. And I'd order it like, the day before I went into get my visa. It was easy peasy. Now, not so easy. Now I need to forget the COVID insurance because that's easy. Just in addition to it, it was
It's
easy.
easy, but it's expensive.
It's expensive, but more importantly, I have to get like this is this headache because like if I get an OA visa, they assume I'm going to be there for a year, and therefore I need to get regular health insurance through a Thai company, basically, because to make sure it's in the system. So I got to get that insurance. I got to get a certain amount of health insurance. It has to match up to the length of my visa, so you got to make sure that, the start date is sort of close to when the visa gets activated. It's like you're doing this balancing act of trying to get everything to match up, and it's just gotten to be a pain to go through that. And then, of course, the usual, you know, you got all the 90-day reports and the silliness of, if I travel somewhere else and then come back to my, hotel, I got to they got to make sure that, or my apartment, the landlord's got to make sure that all that silliness, and it's
That's
unnecessary.
just a crock of shit. That part, this is the thing. For many expats, they come here not because they listen. This is the truth. Many expats come here not because it's so cheap, because it ain't that cheap anymore. Okay, if you watch that Taco Bell video
Well,
yesterday,
that's the next one, the last one.
um, it's like almost $10 for a burrito and two soft tacos.
Yeah, because
It was $9.70.
yeah,
That's not a Thai price. You
yeah,
know what I mean? That's a
same
U.S.
price in the
price.
USA. It's a US price, right? Exactly.
Right.
So your Starbucks there that you're sitting in, anything that's catered to the Westerner
Westerners.
is
Or a
expensive.
Western business that because Starbucks is catered to Thais as well.
Right, but they're still
Um,
charging prices for the HISO,
yeah.
and
Let me get to these questions to these comments right here. Why didn't you use drive-through banking? Yeah, well, that's people want easy. They had it easy. Thai and they made it a little harder, but in no way hard in my opinion. Well, with the listen, with the virus, it's kind of understandable that they're not going to just make it so easy that everybody can just run in, and it's like, oh, no problem. I'm just gonna, you got to be meticulous. You got to go through all the paperwork. You got to do all this stuff. Um, Chinese, Indians, more Chinese. Yeah. Why do you need more separate COVID insurance if your regular or travel medical insurance already covers COVID? Well, that's the thing. It has to cover it. So, that's the way it goes. All right. So, listen, um, before I go any further, I wanted to say that Gennaro, I reached out to Gennaro yesterday morning, I think, and he wrote me back and said that he's doing fine and that maybe he'll be in one of the streams in the near future, and that he appreciates all the well wishes for his father and everything. And so that's good. But he should be back pretty soon. And the reason that I thought of him is because uh, the barista beer just walked in. The female beer just walked in. We've got the manager Ken who's working, and he's in. He's apparently he's in some pain right now because he's been standing up. He hasn't had a day off, and he's been standing up for many hours every day because he needs to be. I guess he hasn't had a day off, so he was because I noticed right away that he wasn't the same old his same old jovial self. So I asked him. He said, "Yeah, my leg and my knee are messed up from standing. I need to get some new shoes because I'm standing all the time." So that goes to tell you something. And then the other barista is Mook, who's been here for a while now. So that's the group that's here. Gennaro, if you watch this after the fact, there you go. Let's see here. Golden days are always behind us. Our memories have a knack of making us think the past is better than the present. It is impossible to get back to the mythical golden age. Well, I mean, listen, the past to me, the there is no denying. There can be no denying that the past here um, was easier, better, more fun. Um, it was more of a party. And you can attribute that to my age and my marital status now or whatever. But I dare say that compared to now, the Thailand of 20 or 30 years ago was far better than what it is now. It was the golden age, even 40, 50 years ago was the golden age. So there was a period of about 30 or 40 years where Thailand was just fantastic, and now it's more modern. It's modernizing. It's become a lot more modern. The people are more in touch with the outside world. And they know when they're being taken advantage of, where there are loopholes, and they're starting to close them up, which is to be expected. You know, and so for those people who are just coming here for a big party, well, there's still a big party. It's just going to cost you a little bit more money. I mean, if you got the money, everything's possible anywhere,
Right.
not
Yes.
just here. All right, so let's see here. Just wait. We soon have environmental lockdowns. Okay. I think we are looking at 5 years for things to normalize, possibly. You're too old to enjoy it if it was still like the past, anyways. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it when I was younger. I had my period of time. I had a long run, uh, and I came out of it relatively unscathed. I mean, I could have come out of it a total drunk, a
Really?
druggie. I could have went to jail for a couple of years. There's all kinds of
Scott,
stuff that could have
you
happened.
you fell from a goddamn window. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that didn't have anything to do with how things were in Thailand with regards to partying and having fun. Why it was better. It's still the same, like it is. That's still the same as it now as it was back then. A lot of times the apartments and the hotels, they don't have their shit together. Think about in Pattaya what happened. Do you remember I think it was the Hilton or the Hyatt where they had the fire and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had the side doors locked so people couldn't just like skip out on their bill, and a bunch of people died.
yeah. I remember that.
So that it doesn't equate.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just joking. It's like you've had quite the time in Thailand. I remember,
I'm
even in your
still
book,
having quite the time. I'm still
even,
having quite the time.
even in your book, when you were selling those soccer shirts, and the police show up, and like, it's like,
I was like, what
oops.
the fuck? Yeah.
Oh man.
I honestly walked out to the balcony to make a phone call, and I'm standing there going, no, it's not worth it. I'll just, because I was on the balcony, I'm like looking down, going, there's a way out. There's a way out. You could just, and then I was like, what am, I was like, no, that's not the answer. There are better ways to handle this. And they were,
Definitely.
to be honest, they were typical Thais. They were very polite, matter of fact. They, um, they just were polite and matter of fact and businesslike.
Yeah.
You need to do this, and this will go away. And fortunately, I had somebody with me that was more experienced in this place than I was, and he kind of set things right
You
and
wanted,
told me
you
what
want
I
to,
needed to do.
Scott, you want to sort of give a background on this story because it's a great one. Uh,
Uh,
your viewers aren't going to give it the 2-minute version. Yeah,
I
I
was,
was
I was, I was, I had basically I was with some hoe one day, going down the street. I
switch
don't
to
know
your.
where I was going. I was like, I forget what I was doing. Oh, I think I was. She had, been with me the previous night, and I said, "You want to go with me to this one place, and then we'll go have some breakfast or whatever." And she said, "Yeah, okay." So we went to one of the places where I had seen some. Actually, what I did was I went and I desperately needed to take a dump. I remember that, and that's not like me. You know, in the center of Bangkok, I have to stop and take a dump. So I went in, did my business, and then we were passing by a place and I saw some football jerseys and I thought, wow. And so we went in. I think we went in, or maybe it was just me. I went back. I can't remember, but you get older, you start forgetting some things. But anyway, I found these shirts and I was like, man, these are like really high quality. And so then I got a thought in my head. I looked up on eBay how much they sell for. And then I saw all these people selling them, and I was like, man, these are selling for like 50, $60, even $70. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. And the thing is, they were costing like $5.50. And so I decided to start selling them. And the next thing I know, I was selling hundreds of them. I was making killer money. Of course, I was going out, and pissing the money away, on wine, women, and song. That's all I'm going to say. And then one day, I actually had slowed down and was trying to get my act together, and I wasn't really going to do that anymore. I completely slowed down, but I still had, I don't know how many dozen, but it was like maybe 8 dozen shirts or something. They're all in their little packages, the cellophane or what do you call it, the little plastic wrapper. and they're tied up with a little string, And all of a sudden, we get a phone, a bang on the door, and I was like, "What the?" I think I was asleep. I don't even remember now, but I have to talk to my wife. But somebody's banging on the door, and I'm like, "What the?" I'm like, "Who the fuck is banging on my door?" And open the door up, and there's all these people standing there in the hallway, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
and they were like, we're with the police. I was like, "Oh man." And I was like, and then they just like they kind of walked right in, and they saw the jerseys there, and they go, "We know you're selling these online." And I said, "Yeah, but I buy them here in Thailand." They said, "Yeah, but you sell them to outside of Thailand." I was like, "So why don't you go after the people selling them to me instead of me?" They didn't answer, and so then it was like, "You give us 400,000, and this will go away." I was like, 400K. I was like, you want me to pay? And at the time, it was, I don't know, it was about 10 grand or something. I forget how much it was at the time, but it was a lot. And I was like, I ain't got that kind of money to be just, giving you. What are you, fucking crazy? And so, they're like, well, you're going to have to go to jail. And I was like, man, and this is just when Alex was a little baby.
Yeah. You're like, oh
He
man.
was a newborn baby, And I was like, just bummed. And so I go down to the jail. Then I talked to one of my buddies, and he reassured me everything's going to be okay. You ain't going to jail, And he's like, don't worry, we'll get you out. And then in the morning, my wife came and saw me, and she came with my buddy. And then my buddy had a little talk with the cops. Or it was that night, I think. They came, and we promised to come back the next day, and we would give them some money. And so the next day, we came back, and gave him some money. And then we made an agreement that there was no way I was going to pay 400,000. Oh, I got a new baby, and this is the Thai way, is that when you got a family, they really do take that into consideration. They try to if they can. And so I said, listen, my buddy said to them, I have a lawyer, and my lawyer is very good, and here's his card. We really don't want to get him involved, so how about we just kind of pay this, but a lot less than that, because he's a small time guy. He doesn't sell that many, and he doesn't have that big money. So just make it 100,000. And they said okay. So then the next morning I brought him some, and then I told him the morning after that I would bring him the rest, because I need a little bit of time to get the money together. Run around town and all that other kind of shit. And yeah, then so I paid him, and they had taken my computer, they took my mask. My mask. See what's on my mind? They took my computer. They took the T-shirts, and it's all sitting on their desk when I came in the last morning.
Which they're all wearing to this day.
No, but they actually gave me the shirts back.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
And
Of all the
like,
things.
they gave me my computer and the shirts back, and they said, "Don't sell these again." I said, "Don't worry about it." My wife made me throw them out.
I would have just given it to him. Said, you know what? Keep them.
Listen, I have a story that, when my buddy found out that I had been doing that, he found that that there was these F1 shirts that were made here in Thailand that were very high quality. And he found them on eBay, just like me. He took my model, basically, and he started selling F1 shirts. They have all the patches on them, like Shell and, Sunoco and all these different kinds of, And so he started selling. He started making money. He's like, man, I can't believe it. I'm making so much money now. And so then he gets a cease and desist letter. And he's like, I don't know, man. I think they're probably full of shit. They're not going to do anything. I go, I don't know. And so he continued to sell. And then he talked to somebody that he knew, and the guy knew a lawyer. And so they talked about it. And the lawyer goes, yeah, I wouldn't mess around. They're big time. They'll come after you. And he said, oh, okay. So he stopped. So then years later, he was moving, and he found those shirts, and he thought, I'm going to get rid of these. Let me see if I can do so. He put them on Craigslist, and somebody in Thailand contacted him and said, we want those shirts. We'll come and get them. It was a a foreigner. It was a guy. He was an American.
Yeah.
So they set up a meeting time. He goes to meet the guy, and the guy is like, yeah, I want him. What can we do? Let's make a deal. And he's like, okay. So he gets them all out. He's getting ready to give them. All of a sudden, the cops pull up.
Oh, for God's sake!
It was a setup, and he had to pay 30,000 baht to make it go away.
What a douche the American
Oh,
was.
and the guy actually asked him afterwards, "Hey, man, you want to go out and have a drink?" And the guys and my buddy was like, I wanted to kill the fucking guy, and here he is going, "You want to have a drink? Don't take it personally."
I'm telling you, how do you not take it personally? The
So
guy just set you up, man.
anyway, yeah. So,
Don't
but
take it personally. What kind of
like I think I wrote, when corruption is on your side, it can be a good thing. When corruption is against you, when it's something that harms you, then obviously it's a bad thing. But on the whole, it's not generally a good thing. But this is the way that they do business here. I don't know.
How did you get caught? Like, how did you get caught selling like the shirts in the first place?
There's only two ways that I could have got caught. Either the apartment that I was living in when I moved out, they didn't like me because I was always bringing in different girls, and they viewed me as a deplorable, and they didn't really like me, even though pretty much everything was copacetic there. Um, I had a nice place. I paid good money and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so, you know, they could have been them, or it could have just been online. Somebody saw um, that I was selling online, and they knew, and they decided to rat me out. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
because
listen, it was my fault. I take responsibility for it. I knew what was happening. I had a good run with it. I made a lot of money um, very quickly. I mean, there are people that they wanted 200 shirts, 300 shirts a pop. And so I would whittle the price down. Maybe I'd make I'd sell them for $12 a shirt or something like that. But when you're selling 200, 300 shirts, that's $1,200, $1,800, and I'd get those every week. Those kind of orders.
yeah, no, it's great shit, man. I'll
So, but
tell you.
the thing is, this is here's the lesson. The lesson is that generally, if it's too good to be true, it probably if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Because at first I was like, oh well, these are just they use the phrase replica jerseys,
Right,
authentic replicas.
right,
Well, a replica is a copy.
right.
It's not an official jersey. So, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Whenever you see this authentic replica, it's horse shit.
Yeah, it's an
It's
authentic
an
thing.
official jersey or it's not, you know.
Exactly.
So, I learned my lesson, and it's kind of like the guys selling the fake bags and stuff like that. Because people ask me, why don't you sell fake bags? Why don't you sell Rolexes or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, the jerseys, I was kind of like out of touch with the jerseys. I didn't really give a shit about soccer. You know what I mean? To me, it was just a numbers game. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, no,
business.
yeah.
Had nothing to do
Speaking
with
of
it. Anyway,
Thailand, Scott. So what's interesting, our good friend Niall is looking for a condo right now, and I'm looking at Airbnbs because I would prefer when I come back to not have a long-term lease. I'd rather just do on a month-to-month basis. And you cannot believe the price discounts that are going around right now.
no,
It
I
is
believe it because I've
crazy.
looked.
I cannot get over it. There are, for renting, an apartment for 10,000 baht that usually costs 18,000 to 20,000. Like everyone is steeply discounting because they're desperate
Yeah.
to get people in. It's
Well, I told you in Krabi, I looked for an apartment for like a month or two, and it was like the range for like a 1 bedroom apartment was like 3,500 to 5,000 baht. I'm like, is this right? Are you kidding me? And so, it doesn't surprise me that they're discounting the prices.
Oh,
They don't, they want to get some money is better than none, but that's not really the Asian way. They're like, if you don't like it, too bad, take a hike. But now, because they're
there's
in a
no one
desperate
there.
situation,
Yeah.
So Johnny Siam asked, what did the cops have on the other bloke for him to set up another foreigner? I never found out, and my buddy never found out either. But he knows that the guy he was just a snitch. He was doing it all the time, and he was eking out a living doing that because they didn't pay all that much. I mean,
Yeah.
they might have given him 1,000 baht if that.
Believe me, that's
I
not the
always
first
look
time
at
I've heard that.
no,
All the time.
but you got to understand something that the way that they operate, the way the cops operate, the way that this kind of a corruption it works um, is that if you think about something like if here's an example. If I said to a girl, "Listen, I want you to meet me. We need to have a conversation. It's going to be you're in Bangkok. I want you to go to Sukhumvit to Soy Nana or you're in Soy Nana. I want you to come to Bangkok, right now." She's not thinking, the girl is not thinking, well, I only have to pay 20 baht or whatever it's 18 baht or something like that to get to the mall by boat, and another 18 to get back, so it's only going to cost me like 40 baht, right? That's not how they think. So I hope he gives me 200 baht, 300 baht for coming to. No, they'll be like, I want 1,000 baht or 2,000 baht, because they're still thinking about their time, you know their time away from, it's a opportunity cost. And so, this is how people work. They don't think, hey, you got to give me, to cover my nut. That's not what they think. It's cover your nut plus plus plus,
Mm,
because it's just they don't want to take any chances on it.
yeah. Yeah.
So the cops might have given that guy 1,000 baht, 2,000 baht.
Scott,
They get
switch your picture with me when you're
they
talking.
get 40,000 baht uh, from my pal, and then they just give them a tiny percentage, and then it filters up. It's just like the mafia or whatever. It's just a, what do you call it? Not a tiered. What do you call that? Like a multi-level marketing kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
when
You
speaking
really
of,
want to have a drink with that person?
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
How do you like? So Big Joke is in the news again. It looks like
I
he's
don't
getting.
care. I don't care about that. I really
Yeah.
don't care. It
It's
doesn't matter to me.
I'm always
I don't give a
fascinated.
shit about. Listen, I don't give a shit about all these politics. Really, when it comes to Thai politics and what's going on with them, um, I don't care, because you know what? I can't do a goddamn thing about it. It doesn't generally matter anything to me. So what's the point of even thinking about it?
I know.
To me, it's just yeah, I understand. Oh, what are they going to do with him, and where are they going to put him, and what did he do, and but I don't care, honestly. And and this is the thing too, that some people don't think about. But I think that Thailand doesn't have the best history when it comes to their political stability, um, and I think that is reason for concern for some expats. And I think if it just happened once, every 50 years or something like that, once or twice in 100 years, I think people would be willing to overlook it. But I think that there are a fair number of people that, when they see what's going on now over history, people who are older, and they're really looking for a solid place uh, to live. And I'm not talking about people who are dirt poor, or some backpacker who comes over, and they're living off of $800 a month. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who they plan their retirement, for years in advance. They've set things up. They know how they want to live, and they look at the political stability here, or instability, if you will, and the infighting that goes on, and I think it's a turnoff to some of them. And I think now it's really starting to weigh between all the other issues, the immigration issues, uh, the supposed strengthening of the bot. I think that all these things have contributed to. Thailand losing a little of its luster for at least for expats. With tourists, there's always going to be that new wave of tourists and people who might have an interest in, uh, the kingdom of Siam or whatever. They might be uh, interested simply because of the uh, simply because it's they want to see what it's all about. They've still got that ancient Oriental mysticism mentality.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You want to have that type of stability where it's not going to be. You don't want to have to deal with the whole red shirt, blue shirt fight, red shirt, yellow shirt fights, or the protests. You just want to live your life without
And they
dealing.
don't want to have to worry about some taxi driver or some tuk-tuk driver beating the hell out of them because they decided they didn't want to take that. They didn't want to use their taxi. They wanted to use somebody else's taxis. And they don't want to worry about if they go to a particular island, are they going to be killed? And, there are some people who they are not all that adventurous. They don't look at it like, well, we see in the news what's going on in Thailand. Yeah, well, a lot of times, like you said earlier, the news is geared towards the most dramatic, emphatic statement that's out there at the moment on whatever subject. So if somebody got killed on Koh Samui and it's a foreigner who maybe had lived there for a year and he was working his way around the world and he that was just one of his big stops, and then he gets killed, and everybody on his YouTube channel are like, what the hell happened? It doesn't necessarily mean that all of Koh Samui is bad. All it means is that one instance happened. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I can't go to Koh Samui because it's completely unsafe. You know what I mean? But a lot of people believe that, and so they won't come. One of the first things I heard when I moved over here was, "Wow, Thailand! I know you can get anything you want. Can't you get somebody killed over there for like $5? That kind of thing." So
Yeah, that is definitely a concern. For me, it's not, again, my plan for the foreseeable future is, 6 months in, 6 months out. So
a
I
lot
just,
can happen in 6 months, though.
yeah, no doubt about it. You want to, even when COVID hit last year, and I was just signing Jesus, I don't want to get stuck here, and should I get out of here? And I started thinking, okay, how am I going to do
Remember
this?
when we talked about that?
Yeah, I do, absolutely, like it was
And
yesterday.
I looked at it. I looked at it like a family thing.
Right, and that's kind of how I was
Which
looking at it too. My parents were
I
so
mean,
worried.
listen. I know that if it was me, I would have been like, man, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. I want to have fun. I want to have a good time. So it was easier for me on the outside to say to you, oh, come on, your parents are a little older. They're worried. You should go back.
Yeah,
And,
and thank you for the advice. That's good advice.
well, listen, I got lucky. But, I mean, I
Yeah,
got
no,
lucky in it when you got lucky that you went back because it did turn out to be something that could have been a big hassle for you.
sure,
Um,
sure. And
but,
I got lucky too that I got refunded on my ticket.
yeah,
Which I
you were
was
lucky there.
lucky. I
That
was
was
like,
pretty
wow,
good. Huh?
got 50 half of it
Yeah.
back. Which is
But just
about
think about it. You could have been stuck there. Now, maybe
yeah,
that wouldn't have been so bad, but you would have had to deal with your parents,
lockdown.
and they're worried, and then maybe calling you every day or every other day and going, "Oh, come on, you got to come home."
Yeah, my
John,
my father still to this day. The other day I was with him and he goes, "Oh well, you shouldn't go back to Thailand. Like he hates that I come here. Like it." I'm like, why are you
maybe he
so
knows
upset?
what he knows. Maybe he knows what a bad boy you are.
I
You
know.
know,
What can you do? But Johnny
adventure
Planes
in
are 3
Thailand
in, 3
is
out.
crossing the road.
It's fine.
Adventure in Thailand is crossing the road. It
Yeah,
can be, yes,
it
definitely.
certainly can. Although I will
I
say
always
something that it used to be worse, meaning the crossing the road is still terrible, but used to be there were many more motorcycles on the sidewalk than there have been. That seems to have gotten better. Still
Yeah,
happens,
a little bit,
but
yeah,
but
definitely.
definitely,
The
it's
side, but the sidewalk is. I mean, listen, when you're crossing the road, like I figured it out real quick. Um, Most of the time, you put your hand out and you go,
yeah,
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and they'll stop because nobody wants to run somebody over. I mean, like the average person is not thinking I'm going to run this guy over because he got in front of my car. Um, Now the other day, the guy basically didn't want to stop and he just kept going, and I was like, what the fuck. But that happens occasionally. But for the most part, I mean, like, yeah, when you walk across the street, there are cars and motorcycles coming from every direction on the wrong side of the road. One thing that you got to remember is if you're walking in between cars, don't just, there's one car and then there's another car right in front of it, side to side. Well, a motorcycle could be going in between. So
oh,
if you're walking, you got to make sure that you always look. If you're getting out of a taxi, make sure that you don't open the door up until you're sure that there's nobody coming.
all that is
So,
true. You got particularly those motorcycles that they'll be driving in the wrong direction. Ghost riding, which that's the one thing that just drives me nuts. I'm so used to crossing now that it's instinct that even on a one-way street, I'm looking the other way because I just know a motorbike is going to come down the wrong way. Because they don't want
right.
to go. They don't want to go around the block. They'd rather just go, halfway down and then go down a slope.
However, I will say, like, when I come from my house on a motorbike and it's before 9 o'clock, has to be before 9 o'clock, because if it's after 9 o'clock, then the police start cracking down and they'll issue a ticket. Um,
Good.
but if it's before 9 o'clock, I come down the street, and instead of taking a left and then having to go all the way down past Tesco and then making a U-turn and then coming back to the mall, you can just drive straight through into the mall, even though you're basically you're crossing through traffic. But when there's a red light, there's no traffic, so they allow the motorcycles to come in and they drive right into the mall, and it saves it saves about 5 minutes. Now you couldn't do that in the United States. If you did that, they'd throw the book at you. Somebody would figure it out. The camera would catch you. You'd be
Yeah.
if you got caught, you'd be paying a $500 fine or something like that. So but the thing is sometimes somebody drives down the sidewalk, it saves you from going 10, 15 minutes in another direction and then having to come back, and there's nobody on the sidewalk, so sometimes it's not a big deal. One thing that I've said this before, and I think one of the main reasons why people decide to go home is not only because of the hassle, but I also think because they just can't become acclimated here, where they just don't understand that, hey, the way things are done here is not the way that it's done in your country. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but if it's not, then instead of trying to fight it and say, why you don't do this for me, that kind of an attitude. There's a way to handle things here that is different than in the United States. You start
Yeah.
screaming and yelling at somebody here, and you're not going to get anywhere. They're going to shut down, or they're going to beat the shit out of you, or whatever. Um, so there are things that are some people find troublesome, and the whole Mike and Rye attitude, the whole Jai Yin Yan. It's like somebody's like freaking out because, oh, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to, my ticket's no good now. What am I going to do? I have to reschedule it. Oh, I don't know. And the lady behind the desk is like going, listen, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, like Scott, you're right. The biggest mistake you'll make coming to and this is in any country, it's not just Thailand, is trying to force it to be run like you're used to in your country. It's just not
Yeah.
going to happen, and it'll frustrate you. People are the Thai time, quote unquote. That's a real thing.
Right. Right.
And you just
Yeah. But there's a
hey,
reason for it. There is
right.
a reason for it, and I can tell you why.
Oh yeah,
Because
what's
you have seen in my streams sometimes where I'm like, well, I thought I was going to be there a half an hour ago, and I'm still like 10 minutes from my house. I was supposed to be there in in this amount of time, but because of traffic, because of rain, because of whatever. And you can say, oh yeah, well you should plan for it. But the thing is that like, let's say that I say I'm going to be somewhere at 9 o'clock. I'm going to be to work at 9 o'clock. We'll say, right? I'm going to the office. Now you know that the average day you're going to get there in 45 minutes. So you leave an hour, hour and 15 minutes before you're supposed to be to work. But every once in a while, it's going to take you an hour and a half or even 2 hours to get there. It's Thai time, man. You just go, hey. And most bosses here, they understand that. They don't like it,
Yeah.
um, you know, but they understand. Now, that's why a lot of people, they like to live like right around the corner or within walking distance to where they work
Right. Unless
because
you
they
get a
can
new
get there and
job.
they know they're not going to be late, you know,
Right. But then you get a new job and you're no longer around the corner.
and they
Uh,
move. That's what a lot of them do. They move if they can.
yeah. It's true. And, there's so many ways that you can enjoy the country if you're going to live there. And if you take the right path to doing that, whether it's learning Thai language, understanding Thai culture and, the ways that they do things, doesn't mean you have to get stepped on all the time, but, you
No,
certainly need to be,
but there's a way to handle a
right.
situation.
Yeah, and the more rigid you are, the harder it is. And I think that
It's
is
about like it's almost like a win-win. You know, if you can adapt some kind of a win-win mentality here, um, you're going to be better off than like I want to win. You
yes,
adapt, and that comes from the saving face and the whole cultural aspect of how they deal with problems instead of maybe dealing with something head on. They kind of do it in a roundabout way. And I heard a story a long time ago, and I've told it, I believe, on in the streams or at one or two points in time I've been on YouTube, um, where you have two employees. One of the employees is just a sweetheart, but she's not very good at her job, and the other lady is a bit of a bitch, but she's excellent at her job.
Mhm.
Which one is going to get the promotions and
Jimmy
excel at her
Betty
job?
Seti.
Which one is gonna make progress in her job? In Thai society, the one who fits in best and who is with the team and who people like the most is going to get farther than the other person. In U.S. society or Western society, often the person who is the most productive is going to get. Now, if there's a huge difference, that might not be true, but um, in the United States, it's about, hey, numbers. Let's see the numbers. Let's see the figures, the stats. And in Thailand, it's about the team, and does the team come first? I can't tell you how many times my wife has said to me, I've got a meeting at this time, and I'm like, can you get out of it? Can you just do it from home or something? And sometimes she can, sometimes she'll be like, nah, this is a team thing. I got to be there because the whole team's going to be there. And it might just be, they're sitting around talking about how things are with the company or whatever. It's not some specific issue, but you got to be part of a team. And if you're not part of a team, you're not going to be there for very long. All right, let me read this here. The best way to prepare for Thailand is to live in China for a while. Thailand seems so comfortable after that. Um, yeah, listen, in Thailand, I had a hard time finding ice for when I was working a corner with another guy for this fighter, and we had a hard time finding ice. And we finally, what we did was we got them in the kitchen of the hotel. It was a nice hotel. We got them to get one of the big blocks of ice. That was all they had, and to chisel off part of that, and then break it up into little pieces so that we could fit it into the bucket. And that was the only. And then we had a hard time finding a bucket, which was another thing. But I mean, listen, I wouldn't want to live in China just because of the government. If you work in Thailand and you're not feeling well, the boss is okay with you taking a nap. That would not happen in the West. Well, it depends on what you're doing. Um, what kind of job you have and all that kind of thing. I mean, but yeah, and the other thing is that, like, well, I used to think, oh my God, the Thais they work so hard. They're just the hardest workers. And if you got listen, there's a guy who he works in a little market, all right, that I go to sometimes. And his grandmother owns the market. and he's a college student, and he's he's been trying to find a job, but because of the COVID, he hasn't been able to find the job. He's had, he's put numerous apps. He's had some interviews, and they all say, "Well, now's not a good time," and that kind of thing, right? And so he basically works in her little store. He doesn't make any money; he just does it to help her out because she's his grandmother, and they're family, and she's done a lot for his mother, and that kind of thing, right? It's an obligation. So he sits there most of the time, and basically just sits there on his phone all day long. And the only time he works is when somebody comes in and buys something. The rest of the time, he sits there with his feet up, chilling out. And if he falls asleep, he falls asleep. Nobody's going to yell at him and scream at him and be, "Oh, you can't be sleeping on the job. You're fired." You know, but this is Thailand. I mean, you can get away with that in some jobs. You're not going to get away with it in very many jobs in the West. So yeah. What is this, soy dog cowboy on a student visa?
No, he keeps on asking him. Jimmy, I'm not in Thailand right now. I didn't come this year due to the situation. That's obvious. So, but usually I'll get because I'm there for 6 months and I'm old enough. I'll just get a new OA visa in the United States every year, and head over. This way, I don't have to like do visa runs or anything like that. Which I hate doing.
Yeah, it's not a matter of working hard, it's a matter of working smart, or basically you're working a job that you don't need to be smart. So, like working at a little place, okay, you got to have some basic math skills, but aside from working at a little market where I'm talking about, it's a little market where, maybe somebody comes in every 15 minutes and he's got to, sell them a soda or something like that. Um, you know, so yeah, things are different. And, I think that some people, I think, and I'm not going to say that I haven't been this way or I can't be this way every once in a while, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty well situated. I've assimilated into the culture. Um, in most cases, I kind of know how to deal with situations here, and it's taken me a long time to, and maybe age and experience, mean a lot more than I think. But I think that at some point you either fit in or you get the hell out. Because if you don't fit in, and I'm not saying I've lost my Americanism. I'm still an American. I will always be an American. But there are many things in Thailand that I do the way that the Thais do. Like if I walk in between two people, I duck down. This is just the way it's done here. You know what I mean? I don't know if you do that sort of cowboy, but I do.
Hmm.
When there's two people and you have to walk in between them, you duck, you bow down, and you walk through them. Um, some people, they find that demeaning. I mean, I've got a buddy who, when he speaks to Thais, he speaks to them almost. I don't know how I can say it. He's almost too sweet. Like cop, cop, oh cop, 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 cop. And I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, you know. And then there are some things like whying somebody who's older than you. It's you can look at it in different ways, or somebody calling you a farang or something like that. You can look at things in it however you want, but at the end of the day, it's about the intention. Like the intention of using the word farang. Some little kid who calls you farang is not trying to be malicious and give you shit because you happen to be a foreigner. It's what they've been raised to. You're going to blame anybody, blame the parents or the grandparents or whoever, but you just get used to it, and you either say, that's the way it is, because you won't be the first person to come here, and you're certainly not the first person. You won't be the last, and they're not changing for you or anybody else because this is their way, this is their culture, this is how they live, and their attitude is, if you don't like it, get the fuck out. You know, if you don't like it, what are you here for? You know.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That's the truth.
That's it in a nutshell. There we go. So, what is this here? How come I don't have? Let me see something here. Looks like I got a little bit of a lag here. Um, yeah, this is not updating. Anyway, interesting to see that they're fighting about the vaccinations. And when it says without the vaccinations, Thailand risks facing more lockdowns, destroying the economy, especially the tourism industry and the livelihoods of many people in the process. And one thing that I noticed is that they're constantly releasing in the news that this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And really, the only thing that it is it's a proposal. It's not confirmed, and this is happening. Definitely, we're going to do this. Many times when they release information, to you really have to read the articles because quite often these new guidelines that they're talking about in the news, they're not yet passed. They haven't been confirmed. They say, oh yeah, they should be confirmed, but you know how that goes. Maybe they'll be confirmed, maybe they won't be. And things at any time things could change here. Some another group of people get the COVID. 10 people get it in one little area, and they just happen to be in a couple different cities. Next thing you know, things are tightened back down. So they got to get this vaccination situation squared away, and the more people around the world that get vaccinated, I think the better things will get. Simple as that.
Yep.
Relatively empty here. Oops, let me see if I can do this here. You got one person there, one person in the corner. You got a guy sitting to my right, and you got two girls sitting on the telephone, and that's it. And the manager was telling me that yesterday was extremely busy, but today is not going to be busy at all. And they have very few grab orders, so who knows? You know, who knows? I'd really like to look at what days get busy, what days they make the most money. I'd really like to know this, and just to satisfy my own curiosity. What does this say here? Yes, like running things up the flagpole to see how it flies. Yeah, or like I like to say, they like to throw stuff on the wall to see what sticks. You know, they make a proposal, and that's not necessarily a given. A proposal is not confirmed. So anyway, sort of cowboy.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Final thoughts?
I mean, nothing fantastic to add to that.
How long till you leave?
Oh, back to New York. I think I got about the end of April. So what was it? Today's the 13th.
End of April.
Yeah,
6
we got a month.
weeks.
Yeah, it's about 6 weeks. I'm starting to plan. As far as deciding if I'm going to drive back home over 2 days basically, or fly home and just ship the car. They have crazy rules here. You're not allowed to pack your car with stuff. So.
What?
Well, basically, these shipping companies don't have they need a license to ship household goods, right? Which they don't have. They just have it. So they have a license to ship the car. So if they get stopped, on those way stations that are and there's all your cars filled with stuff, they'll get fined for transporting household goods. Moving companies have that license. So,
see, that's bullshit to me.
Of course, it's bullshit, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's a perfect example of too much fucking government.
I would agree. So, unfortunately, but you usually can get away with it. You tip the guy, whatever it is, but they have to want to do it. And it's always a risk. They say no when they come to get your car, but,
Yeah.
As long as I don't lose my money, if they say no, it's no big deal. I'll hop in my car and drive home. I bought the airline ticket; it was $30, so I don't care about losing that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So I got to plan that. I'm making
You just don't want to drive.
Yeah, I mean, I drove down here. It's a freaking long drive, man. Overall, it's like 19 hours, to do it, and with traffic, whatever it is, you 10 hours every day in the car. It's a long day,
Yeah, yeah.
and when I could be home in
Can't
3 hours.
remember the last time I've driven like that many hours because it's been a long time since I drove regularly.
Right.
Um, Aside from driving a car here once or twice and driving motorcycles, back in the day, I drove a lot more, but now, um, nowhere near as much. I mean, at once in a great while, but that's it. I can't even imagine sitting in a car and being the driver, because I was thinking, oh man, nose is bad today. I was thinking about how am I going to go to Krabi? Do I want to go to Krabi? Do I want to go straight there? Do I want to go somewhere else? What am I going to do? And there are no trains that go right to Krabi. You have to go to like Chumpon or Sortani, and then you take a minivan or something like that over to Krabi. And I'm like, screw that, I'll just I'll just take a bus. And then I thought, oh, that's going to be a long time. And I thought, why not just fly? And it turns out that the tickets are like not even 800 baht for one way. Shit, I got to sneeze.
Here, 3 times. You sneeze. One, two. Come on. Three.
Shit.
You got more? 4, 5. One more. No mask. Yeah, they must love that. COVID.
Oh, well. Ceci.
Oh man.
I got the little hand cleaner.
It's.
So anyway, so going to Krabi is like an 800 baht flight. I thought, well, maybe I'll go to Krabi. And then I thought, well, where else do I want to go? I had a fight in Pangan. It was the last time I fought.
Really?
And yeah, it was out at some school in a field. That's all I remember. But it was in Pangan. And we took a train to Nakhon Si Thammarat, and then we took a car the next day and drove over there. Me and a couple other guys, And, I mean, I don't know what to expect from the place. But the place I really want to go to is Khao.
It's nice. Yeah.
Have you been there?
I have not. I know a lot of people have. They love it.
It's apparently a big place for surfing.
Which is surprising. Surfing is not the greatest in Thailand,
No, the waves are not all that great. If you want to go surfing, you go to Indonesia.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm anxious to go there, and then I'm not really anxious to go to Renong. And I may not stop there. I don't know, but maybe I don't know, depending on how things go. From maybe I think Renong. There's a pier there that I can go to this Khao Lam, and it's supposed to be a place where like there's generally no people there, so I'm expecting there to be virtually no one there. And it's supposed to be just gorgeous. So I'm like, okay, but I don't think there's any hotels there or anything like that, any bungalows or so. It'd just be like a day trip, but still, it might be nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what the thing is like when you say I'm going to the beach, what are you gonna do? Nothing. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the beach. You're gonna go check out all kinds of places. I mean, I can go island hopping or whatever, but like it's basically just to get away. It's to go check out the scenery and relax a little bit. Sit by listen. If you guys remember when I was in Kokut, and I like basically just started the stream, and all you could see is the ocean and the beautiful beach. And I was sitting there, and I thought, man, this is the life. It's quiet. There's nobody out. I'm sitting there on the beach, looking at the waves, looking out at the ocean. So relaxing. That was the place for me at the time. I thought, man, this place is the best. And I get that feeling every once in a while, depending on where I go. But that place in particular. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The
Yeah.
last time I was in Krabi, I went to a wedding. The guy got married. Thai guy got married, and I stayed at a nice hotel. With a bunch of guys and stuff that I hang out with. And it was pretty fun. But I had a purpose. I don't really have any purpose right now aside from maybe doing some streams and showing what's going on, and shooting some video. You know, so I've actually thought about getting a GoPro, even though I really don't want to because of the water aspect. You can take it underwater, and also because of the stabilization supposedly is fantastic. So I wouldn't need a gimbal, which is a big bonus. Oh, here we go. Dalo, how you doing? Jono, there you are.
Here he is.
Mr. W.
Hey,
That's
John.
him. Mr. W. That's your new nickname. What's happening, man? Yeah, well, I don't know how nice it was. I forgot to film eating the tacos. The tacos were good too. And to be completely honest, when I opened them up, they looked kind of skimpy, you know. But whatever, they were good. They're pretty good. I got a lot of people ask me, why do you go there? And it's like, if you think there's a ton of Mexican restaurants in Bangkok, you're wrong. There's a few. And, some of them are quite good. And Jono and I and Longhorns went to one of them. I don't remember the name of the place. But, listen, Taco Bell's a fast food restaurant. And, like Texas chicken. Texas chicken, I'm a little bit sick of it. Would I get sick of Taco Bell? Of course.
Scott, put your picture in the middle.
Yeah, so I don't feel like I need to be in the middle. I'm not all that
You're
important.
the host. You're the host.
Well, hey, I'm giving it away. I'm showing that I don't have to be the center of attention. Now, Lori had said she may come on, but she had to work, and so she's probably just now getting home or something like that. So, kind of doubtful. But maybe on Tuesday. Chucky's going to be here on Tuesday. I don't know about Soy Dog Cowboy, but Chucky will be here on Tuesday. And, Patty Bob, he's had some health issues lately. And
Yeah.
I had a little conversation with him yesterday. He's got some abscess or something on his leg, and it's supposedly painful. He's had to go in. This will be day 3 that he goes in for antibiotics to try to kill whatever the hell's festering in his leg. So he's in bad shape. And then Pete was going to be on today, but he's got a couple of meetings, and he couldn't make it. But maybe Tuesday we'll have a group here together, and then maybe I'll go somewhere. I don't know. It's freaking so hot. I actually looked for different places to go than Krabi because I want to go to the places that are coolest and that the air is the best. But it's really hard to find a place like that right now in this time of the year. And the other
Yeah.
thing is, Songkran is coming up.
I know.
I got some things to take care of before Songkran, and I don't want to be out during Songkran. But then I was thinking, oh, you know what? I always say that. Hey, if I was walking around with my GoPro, I could shoot some video, and I could get wet, and I wouldn't be that hot. Maybe it might not be that bad, So I'm trying to push myself a little bit more because the heat. And I'm sure Jono can relate to this. The heat is it's a bad mother. It will kick your ass every time. You know.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Jono? Well, you're over there. You're in beautiful sunny Florida,
Oh
where
yeah.
it's nice and cool. Weather is
It
fantastic.
lately it's been spectacular here. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
Fucking, almost 80% humidity here. Are you kidding me? My head looks like a damn sprinkler. Yeah. And that's the other thing is that, like if you're gonna, I used to, when I first came over here, I used to be like, okay, how am I gonna get to where I'm going? Oh, we just walk. It's not all that far. And then I think to myself, by the time I get from, say, Sukhumvit Road to Ashok, even at night, I'd be drenched in sweat. And I didn't want to go into places with a sweaty shirt, and to be the sweaty ass Farang, you know. So I would wait, I'll take a motorbike. And even then, I'd get a little, forehead sweat, a little chest sweat or whatever. It's just, the ass sweat is kind of under control, but maybe that's because I'm getting older. I'm a little more shriveled and dried up. I don't know. Phuket should be cool. I remember between that and then flying to Pattaya. Pattaya was boiling. I'm not going to Phuket. I'll tell you that right now. I have no desire to go to Phuket. I don't particularly like Phuket. I need to start carrying a mop. I don't know how many times I've said this, and I mean, I don't mean it in a. I really don't mean this in a bad way. I just mean it's a preference of mine. But I don't like going to places, hanging out in places that are tourist traps. And Phuket's a tourist trap. Pattaya is a tourist trap.
Right now, there are no tourists, so it's great. I mean,
Going for a day, okay, I can handle it, but then I got to leave a day or two tops. I got to leave. I want to get out of there. And I think this is something that I need to concentrate on a little bit more. Um, Kind of like the Klong Toi and going to places out where there aren't a lot of tourists or a lot of people that generally the tourists don't go to these places. I think those are the kind of places that suit me the best. And I like those places. I go in, you talk to some people, you see how they're living, you have a nice chat with them. Even when I went to what was it? Was it Prachuap? I went to Prachuap Khiri and remember I walked across the narrowest part of Thailand, and there was a time when I was walking and I was just drenched in sweat, and I was like running out of water, and I was trying to find the most direct path because I wasn't sure of where I was going, which I just knew the direction. And this lady was on the side of the road with dragon fruit, and I asked her, she started talking to me, and I said, "Well, how much for the dragon fruit? I'll buy one or whatever." She goes, "No, no, no, here, just take a few," and she gave me like four of them, and I was like, "No, no, how much? No, 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 I don't want your money." I said, "Okay," and I start walking away. By the time I reached where there was water, I had eaten every single one of those dragon fruit because they were so juicy, and I was so dehydrated, I needed it. And I think of those kind of things, like she didn't have to give me them. She just was being nice, you know. And I like those kind of, not necessarily that somebody's giving me a free dragon fruit. That's always nice. But what I mean is you're dealing with genuine people, and it's not because you're a tourist or something like that. It's because maybe because I'm speaking Thai to her, um, and I don't know. That's just my preference is to not go to places like Phuket. Like I wouldn't want to live in Phuket. You know, I just
eh,
want to. What is it? Go ahead.
it could
What?
be nice.
Yeah, there's
I'm
places.
saying,
I mean, of course, there's places that are nice there. I mean, it's a beautiful place. There's,
yeah, you
um,
just, I mean, you don't have to live, in the heart of it.
right, right. There's a SF saloon where they have a big sign that reads "We cheap tourists and drunks." We need cheap tourists and drunks, or we are cheap tourists and drunks. Jono's been partying a little bit lately. He's been having a good time, which we cheat tourists and drunks. Oh, is that what it was saying? Yeah, it's good. He's Mr. Thailand now. Jono has become Mr. Thailand. Now, if I can just get him to learn the language, but you know what? At his age, I don't think he needs to. No offense, old man. So anyway, so what do you got planned for the rest of your night there, Soy Dog Cowboy? Anything?
Nah, I'm going to um, study some Thai after this. There's a lot of new people are putting up just comprehensible input, so it's just speaking in Thai, and it's a great way to sharpen that up. So I've been doing that, so I'll probably do that a little bit.
You still have the same girl who was teaching you before, or somebody
No,
different?
yeah, well, I don't even have a teacher right now. Now I'm just having conversations with language exchange partners. They're learning English, and we exchange language. Um,
Mm.
and I'll watch some videos, on intermediate level speaking, and listening to podcasts, things like that. Trying to, right now, what I'm trying to do is hone my listening skills, because Thai people speak very fast, and
Mm.
so you need to be able to absorb that. That's the key. Is listening
Yeah.
to Thai people. So that's what I'm really doing right now.
Well,
So
if
I'll
you don't
probably.
understand them, that's not good. You need to understand them when they're speaking, and sometimes, yeah, they speak very, very quickly. Um, Listen, sometimes they speak with a different dialect, and you're like, "Ah, what?" Huh?" And you're
Yeah,
not sure. And you got to ask them again, and it can get a little bit problematic. But Spaceman says it's John O high as Chuck. I don't think so. I think Chuck was very high that day. I think Jono's just having a good morning. But yeah, Chuck told me, the other day that he didn't think he was going to eat more than one cookie at a time ever again. Dre, what's happening? Good to see you. Good to see you there. Um, yeah, and one of the things I've been thinking about is hitting that. I already talked about this, the CBD restaurant. There's one. It's a little ways from the house, though, so I don't know. And it really depends on what I'm going to do. And I've been trying to get one of my kids, at least one of my kids, to go on this trip with me, to take a little trip with me. Everybody's doing their own things now in my family. You know,
everyone's
no,
growing
really.
up.
Well, listen, everybody's growing up. I'm going to have the empty nest syndrome pretty soon.
You're damn right.
Alex, he just came back from a scuba and snorkeling trip.
Oh yeah, how was
Uh,
that? I
He's
mean,
fantastic, man. I should send you a couple pictures he sent me.
did he love it?
Um, yeah, he loved it. He had a great time,
And now he's
and
packed.
he went to Phuket, Krabi, and Phang Nga, and I think that's it. Um,
And now he's certified.
I don't think he's certified. No, he's not certified. They
I mean,
just took him. Listen, I'm sure that if you're going to get certified, it would have cost a lot more money, so that's fine. If he really wants to go do it again, then we'll deal with that issue when it comes up when getting him certified. But he needed to do it for his school. It was part of his course, I guess. And they did take him twice. He went down 5 meters. That was as deep as he went with the tank. Um, so yeah, he's definitely not certified, but I asked all about it, and he went. He had an instructor with him, and he had his buddy with him, and they were watching, making sure everything was okay, and he wasn't down that far. But he did go snorkeling, and he did manage to get a lot of pictures, and he had a good time. And he was like, every morning I woke up and had a breakfast and had a cappuccino. He's sending me pictures of cappuccino with the little designs in the foam and that kind of stuff. I'm like, since when did you start drinking cappuccino? He's like, oh, me and my buddies are sitting around having cappuccino. And he even told me that one night he went out and had a couple of beers with his friends. And I
I'm
was like,
telling you,
oh,
man. I
wow.
don't get upset, dude. This is if I had a son, like like the Thailand, like I don't know how these kids are not going to these places, to have some fun. Like I mean, it's all everywhere. It's gotta be
Well,
happening,
that's why.
right? It's
That's
gotta be
why.
happening, right?
Listen, first of all, he's in school. He's in school, and school is important to
Yeah, well,
him. And not only that, so is playing guitar. Between those two things, he has very little time. and he likes to sleep. So think about those three things, how much time they take. Um, he'll sit in the front room with the guitar connected to the amp, and it's turned low, but he'll sit there and he'll just pick away and play different stuff for hours.
Well, it's
And
good.
then, he'll be like, oh, I got to go study. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to go study. Or then he'll go and study with his friend, or he'll go to the gym. He's always busy, and he's in school for another couple of months. So I don't think he's going to be able to go with me or with us. Although he did say maybe he needs to see his schedule, but maybe there's only one or two classes where he has to go in um, to the school. So if he can get out of it and do it online, then maybe he would do it. But even then, it's kind of like, listen, we're down in Krabi somewhere and we're in the hotel and he's got to do schoolwork for 4 hours or 5 hours, be online. I don't know, but it's worth it for him to go. And then Nicholas has got finals coming up and he's got some college testing to do. And the wife is working, and it's hit or miss whether she has to go in or not. So it's like I'm better. This is the whole thing. Sometimes I'm just better off on my own. That way I don't have to think about all the logistics and that kind of stuff. So you know, anyway. Oh, thank you very much, there, Bud. I appreciate that. Just so
Oh,
everybody knows,
yes.
Bud, you are the first and only super chat of the day. Um, Nice to be appreciated. Really appreciate that. So, Choke D, uh, Choke D. Good luck for you all day. Appreciate it. Jono says, when I was in school, I took up space. Really? Did you learn astronomy? Oh, God. I forgot that Jono is the jokester. There we go. Anyway, big fun, big trip coming up. I don't want to get too. I may do some things differently this time. I don't know that I'm going to stream as much, nearly as much. Tell you quite honestly, I've become a bit burned out on streaming. Maybe because I was streaming almost every day, like 6 days a week, and it's it takes considerable effort to think about what we're going to talk about. Try to at least stay somewhat focused on a topic. To come up with something new that we haven't talked about 500 times already. Um, so I may start streaming a little bit less, but if I'm out and about, sometimes it's nice to be able to stream, um, from a beach or somewhere like that. So we'll see. But I'm coming up with in my head. I'm thinking I need to have the George Costanza mentality now, and by that I mean by that I mean these girls are going crazy next to me. They're
Why?
looking at their phones. They're just looking at their phones and going nuts. Um, but the George Costanza method is you do everything opposite
Yes,
of
the
what you think,
opposite.
and I love that. And I think that that's kind of what I need. If I think it's good for me to go down to the beach, then I need to go somewhere else. Not go. Don't go to the beach. If I think that beach is dirty, you know what? I don't want to go there because it's all dirty. No, I'm going to go there. I kind of I need to change things up, mix it up a little bit. Because honestly, when I'm bored, then I make boring videos and streams. That's my opinion, and I don't like to do that. I almost feel like I'm pissing my time away. So I need more exciting streams, like where I'm on the side of a mountain, or when we got somebody like Chuck stoned off his ass, or when people are shooting at me, like in Hong Kong. I need more streams like that. And the occasional quiet one like this, that's okay. But that's how I'm thinking. That's my mentality. So
Well,
we'll
I
see.
don't know. You got a lot going on in your life. Your kid's changing. It's
Yeah, I'm going through changes. You know,
change and
no,
things are
no,
strange.
no. I was thinking of Changes by Black Sabbath.
Oh, right. You don't like David Bowie? Come
Yeah,
on.
you know, I like him, but I like the Changes by Black Sabbath and Ozzy and his daughter I like that song better than Bowie's Changes. I like that one better. I like the Black Sabbath better. But yes, I am going through changes. What is it called when the menopause, or what do you call it? Not menopause, but what's it called? Male menopause.
I don't. Do we have that? I don't think we have
Yeah,
that.
there is. They
You
do.
know, midlife crisis. I don't know.
No, it's called male menopause. Uh,
I never heard of that.
well, I guess I don't really have the symptoms of it because it says loss of sex drive, erectile dysfunction, depression. No, I mean, I get the blues like anybody, but loss of sex drive and erectile dysfunction. No. Um,
Ryan is in Ryan Sandor in day 8 of the ASQ.
oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Halfway, halfway.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Carlos came in here earlier, and
Yeah.
I can't keep up. Sorry, guys. Uh, it's not that bad, really. Well, it's not jail. I will say that.
Yeah, look, they're going to cut it down to 10 days. And then eventually they're saying if you have a vaccination within 3 months, which I don't understand, but
It'll be 7 days.
then it, yeah, well, actually now they're thinking no quarantine if you have vaccinated within the time frame of 3 months prior to the trip. And obviously
Interesting.
a negative COVID test and it blah, blah,
All right.
blah.
All right. Male menopause is sometimes called the andropause. I don't know why.
I mean, look, the women. I'll tip my hat. The women go through it much worse.
Whatever.
You know?
Listen, I don't want to hear. I don't want to think about my feelings. Because if you start thinking about your feelings, you start getting in trouble. That's the way I look at it. I don't want to. Oh, I don't feel so good. It's like, you know what? Some days you wake up and you feel like shit, and by the end of the day, you feel fantastic. So, what does your feelings really matter? You just put one foot in front of the other, and you keep going. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel. Some days you wake up and you're like, what a fantastic day. And then by the end of the day, you're going, man, this day turned to shit. you know? So I'm interested in knowing what flying right now will be like because, it's been a while since I've flown. I think the last time I went out of Bangkok was when I went to Ayutthaya, which was, I wouldn't call that a hell of a trip. It was okay. It was all right, but it's temples. That's all I'm gonna say. It's temples. I'm over the temples. You've seen one temple here, you've seen them all, pretty much. Although I will say, you got to see if you get a chance and you go up to the Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai area. Go up and see the white temple and the blue temple and all that kind of shit. I just lower my expectations. Works well. I understand. That's the thing is that when you're young, I hate to talk about age again, but when you're very young, um, you have these expectations of what's going to happen. When you get a little older, you start tempering your expectations and you start realizing, listen, I might not marry Bo Derek. It might not happen. You know, um, you realize that the chance of that is damn near nil. You know, you'd be like, what's the guy's name? What was that? Dudley Moore in 10. The chance of you actually
That was such a funny.
landing that. Yeah, but the chance of you landing that girl would be even less than he had.
It's amazing when you think about that. You bring up Dudley Moore. He was such a big star, like at the time, like massive between that and Arthur, which was hysterical.
Right.
It's amazing how not only how huge he was, but then like where the hell he just fell off the planet after
Well, he's
that.
been dead for almost 20 years.
Yeah, but even after that, has he been dead that long?
Yeah,
Dudley? Wow.
almost 20 years.
What did he
I'm not
do?
over temples. I
Didn't
don't know.
die young, man.
No. Did he?
He's had to.
He
Dudley Moore. I
He's
mean, hey,
67, so yeah, a little bit young.
yeah. Let me.
Let's see here. What did he? Let me see. I'm looking right now.
Gotta be
I'm
something happened. You know.
Illness and death. He had calcium deposits in the basal ganglia of his brain and irreversible frontal lobe damage. He
Oof.
underwent a quadruple coronary artery bypass surgery in London. He also suffered 4 strokes.
Yeah.
Um,
Boy.
2 years later, he announced he was suffering from terminal degenerative brain disorder, progressive supranuclear palsy, a Parkinson plus syndrome. Some of the early symptoms being so similar to intoxication that he had been reported as being drunk and that the illness had been diagnosed earlier in the year. He died of pneumonia March 27th, secondary to immobility caused by the palsy in Plainfield, New Jersey at the age of 66.
Wow.
Wow.
I
When
mean,
he
that is
died, his final words were, "I can hear the music all around me."
amazing, right?
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I liked him. I did like him. He was I found him to be a good actor. He was married to Tuesday Weld,
oh,
which
really?
I remember her. I thought she was so cute when I was a little boy. I thought, oh, she's so cute, that girl. Kind of like Doris Day. One of those kind of, when Doris Day was young, she was very cute. She wasn't like a sexy thing, but that's good.
Hey, Stephen.
Tuesday Weld was kind of
Mr.
sexy back in her
Steve-
day.
Stephen's here.
Okay, how you doing, Stephen? I'm not over tempos, puffy ones, pointy ones, long ones. Leave it to Longhorns to make some sexual connotation.
God
I
damn
wonder
it.
how the sandbox at Wary Quano will affect people being able to travel to those places who are already in Thailand. Yeah, they're talking about making Koh Samui and a couple other islands. The quarantine areas, like stay on the island, but that's it. Which I don't know, man. I mean, it's like I just don't see it.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, you either go. What is it? Go hard or go home or something like that. What is it?
yeah, that's it. Go hard or go home.
Yeah, go
Um,
hard or go home. Steven, so how you doing? What? No, 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 no. Tommy Hearns did not die today.
no, he's
You're
well,
fucking
no. He's talking about uh, Hagler, who fought her.
Hagler.
Yeah, he just got
No,
the
but he said Hitman's Hearn also passed today. It wasn't Hearns. It was Hagler that
yeah.
passed away today. I
Could
was like,
you
holy
imagine
shit.
if they both passed away on the same day? That would
Oh
be
my
like
god.
crazy. Like
Listen, I said I got a picture uh, from Hagler, but I was in Las Vegas and Hearns went walking through with a crew that I mean, it wasn't a crew, it was like 10 football teams, um, and he snubbed me basically. I was like, hey, could I was like, I don't know how old I was, but I was young. Hey, could I get your autograph? Like this big, massive guy, just kind of pushed me out of the way, and Hearns just kept walking. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think it was just, there's a lot of people, and but I always remembered that he seems to be, uh, you know, pretty content in his retirement and that kind of thing, which is good to see. And it's too bad that like Emmanuel Stewart passed away, the Kronk Gym is no longer there. Things change, and Jim, how's it going?
Jim,
Yeah,
you're
it bothers me. It does bother me that, I mean, to see Hagler go so young, and the guy was such an incredible physical specimen. I mean, he was an animal. You
goes
don't
to
fight the way that he fought
no.
without being in tip top condition.
I'm telling you,
And
live your life, people. It's you don't know when, right? You don't know when, and you just gotta do it. That's why I retired early. I was like, the hell with this. I'm not gonna work till I'm 65 and have maybe who knows what'll happen, but at least have 10 good years left before I can't really do anything. Like, forget it.
yeah,
You
well,
know,
I mean, I kind of did the same thing. I just kind of figured, I need X amount every month, and I should be okay. And I was pretty much dead on.
yeah,
Um,
and
Fortunately,
and you got a wife
I'm
who
okay
works, and
with that.
it's great. You've got a good situation. You got a
I
family.
mean, listen, I could have worked. I mean, I worked some rough jobs when I was young,
I know.
and then I became, a printer for a while, which is not a rough job, but it can be a stressful job. And now things have changed in printing completely, with digital printing and that kind of thing. So things are much different now. But yeah, I'm never gonna say, God, I wish I could. There's part of me that thinks, if I had just worked another year or two, I could have stashed this much money. But you know what? Um, to this day, I'm like, I'm glad I left when I left. I'm glad I experienced everything that I've experienced since I've got here.
Right. And
Um,
I can't tell
I
you how important that is.
yeah,
John O's, that's a great quote. I love it. He says, "You'll never see a headstone that says, I wish I spent more time at work."
I should have
And
been at work more.
yeah, it's true. And it's so hard in the moment, to think that far ahead. You just never know. I was watching one of these HGTV shows today. And this backstory, I like to think of the backstory. One of the backstories was this woman, she was young, and her husband was killed in a car accident on the way home from work. And I mean, like, you just don't know. You can't live your life in fear, but just realize that, you know, you know, it's just, you gotta live. You gotta live.
Definitely, Stephen. Definitely, a good day in the office never beats a crappy day at the beach or golf course or fishing or
Hearns
something like
Hag-
that.
Hearns Hagler by far, as far as I'm
What
concerned.
were better fights? What do you think were the better rivalries, Hearns Hagler or Ray, Sugar Ray and Hagler? Definitely not Sugar Ray and Hagler. Sugar Ray and Hearns was very good.
Yeah, that
That
was a
that
good.
trilogy. Um,
But the
but
Hagler
Hearns and Hagler
fight,
is voted by most people as one of that. The first round is voted as the greatest round ever by many boxing
I
pundits.
think it was,
And
man. I mean, I thought,
if you know anything about boxing, I mean, there were some great fights in the old days, but a lot of people just don't even think about it anymore. If you remember Jack Dempsey and you watched him fight, or Harry Greb, or Rocky Marciano, or Sugar Ray Robinson, and LaMotta, and these kind of fights, Tony Graziano. Um, there's a lot more to fights than Mike Tyson and Hagler and Hearns and Duran. But those guys were the creme de la creme, man. They don't call them the Four Kings for nothing, So, but like I said, at least he got some time to live his life. Because
yeah,
he could have been fighting until he was 40 something. He could have been in a bad way. Um, Look at Gerald McClelland. What happened to him? If you know anything about him, um, Hearns didn't die, Steven. Hearns is alive.
Hagler. He said,
Hagler is dead. He
what happened.
died. He got the vaccination and apparently had some allergic reaction and went into the hospital and was put in the ICU and then he passed away. But I don't know
I haven't read
uh,
that. I'm looking for that, by the way. Like, I'm trying to find that. Like, I don't see that.
what.
That he, it's from the shot, or that he got the
Well,
shot.
it's on Hearns' Instagram that he was contacted, I think, by somebody in Hagler's family. Um, But is this every boxing match I've been on always ended the same? My guy came in second. Oh, I had shot number one. Well, let's hope shot number two isn't the last shot you ever get.
Can you imagine that? It's like, damn it.
Braddock was not exactly a great fighter. He was a very good fighter. He had his day. He had his time. He had his moments, but he wasn't what most historians don't consider him, like in the top 25 or anything like that. He wasn't that great. Guys like Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, um, Jack Dempsey. Uh, yeah, I have developed a red spot by the Dempsey rule. I have developed a red spot by the injection site. Uh-oh. As
Yeah.
Longhorns stated earlier, the number of people who have these allergic reactions that are serious or that end up being fatal is extremely limited compared to the number of people who get the shot and are fine.
Exactly.
Um,
There's 90 something million people have had this thing. There's been like 1,400 deaths. That's like a 0.0004%, death rate. And you don't want to
right.
be
Yeah.
that
So
person, but yeah, I mean, the classic, you're more than likely to die on the way to get the shot than from the shot, uh,
yeah. Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know,
So.
so, you know,
Oh God, another one of these fucking questions. Would Ali in his prime defeat Tyson in his? Um, I don't know.
yeah,
That's
who
all
the
I'm
hell
gonna say.
knows, they would have
Here's the
trained the
thing.
guy.
Here's the thing. Frazier beat Ali, and Frazier, his style was different than Tyson's, but Tyson had that left hook. But Tyson had power in both hands. But Tyson had a great left hook, and I dare say he probably could have caught Ali. And I think it depends on the day. Each which fighter showed up on which particular day, and um, the one thing that Ali had that and Tyson did have some problems with this is people who had good footwork. And Ali had considerably better footwork than Buster Douglas, and he also had a great jab, and Buster Douglas had a great jab, and that's what beat Tyson. But then that Tyson was not the same Tyson that he was when he was with D'Amato, and later on when he was just became champion and started using drugs and stuff like that. So as long as you're alive, Steven, it doesn't matter. Everything doesn't matter. You don't need to know about anything. Your percentages are, it's like getting hit by lightning. Let's hope you don't get hit by lightning. That's about the same kind of, you know. I don't know how the odds compare, but that's what I would compare it to. The promoters always win. You want to make a lot of money from boxing? Don't get involved as a boxer because 99% of them it's a triangle, and only a few at the top make any money. The promoters, if they don't make money, they don't stay in business, so they tend to make money. I don't even know. There's a lot of promoters. I don't know what they're doing right now. Bob Arum, Don King, even De La Hoya. I think a lot of these companies, the things are changing, and you know, MMA has taken a lot away from boxing, which kind of pains me because I'm not into boxing anymore. I'm not into boxing. I'm not involved in it. I'm not into Muay Thai. I'm not into really anything. And I'll watch an MMA fight once in a while. Um, I'm just not into it anymore. I don't like seeing people get the shit beat out of them and get hurt because I know what it involves. You see it on TV and you think this guy took a beating. Oh, that must have been really bad. Oh, he got his jaw broken. Oh, what you don't see is behind the scenes. The guy's devastated. He's in tears. Um, maybe his kid was out in the arena and he feels he let him down and all these kind of things. And then oh, the promoter, by the way, he owed the promoter money, so he only got like 14% of what he was supposed to get because he owed so much money that he borrowed from the promoter, and the promoter screwed him because he was taking some exorbitant interest rate every month. I don't know. you know it's said that human beings want to go towards the easiest and most painless method of living or whatever, and I believe that. And for me, watching boxing is painful, not only physically but it brings up memories of things that I know have happened, not only just in fights in general, but fights that I've been involved with or I've seen things that have happened, and it just makes me think, uh, you know um, yeah, it just makes me think, I guess, So I don't really, I just don't enjoy it all that much. Why do they call it a boxing ring? Because if they didn't, Jono wouldn't have any fodder for his comedy. That's why. And actually, it did used to be a ring. You know, it used to be just a circle long ago from the Olympiads. And they used to fight on boats, you know, a long time ago too, because that was the only way they could get away with fighting because it was illegal.
Can you
And
imagine that
those were the
fighting?
days.
That would be pretty fucking dope. Did you read this crazy thing? So they're going to sell tickets to Lumpini Stadium for foreigners only? Like, what the fuck is that all about? Like, are we supposed to get COVID? Like, it's okay if the dirty Farang gets COVID? Like, what is that?
Well, what? So they're letting the Thais. They're letting the Thais in for free.
No, I'm hearing that they're just gonna. It's only gonna be for foreigners. Like, I'm like, but I could be reading that
I don't.
wrong.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I will tell you this that when I first came to Thailand, I used to have to pay to get into the fights, and it was like
fifteen
I don't
hundred.
know. It was no, but at the time it was like
Oh,
800 baht for ringside seats for foreigners, and then I got accredited, and I was on the ring apron in Lumpini and Rasdemnern Stadium. I would go in and I didn't have to pay. I just went in, showed my card, went right in, and it was fantastic. I got to go see some big fights,
hmm.
and it was great. But listen, if you it's for me, if you go in and you go see fights day after day after day after day after day after day after day, and you've grown up on it, there comes a point. It's just like I said the other day or this morning about when I was thinking the other day about how you do a stream every day, and after a while, it gets to be a burnout. It's a burnout, man. And boxing is a burnout. That's why guys don't make it. First of all, physically, they don't generally make it until till they're 40 because they get burned out. They've been training since maybe they're 10 years old every day. They're in there. They've foregone their childhood. Some of them, they've
Yeah,
foregone their years when they should be out, having fun and chasing girls and maybe they do chase women and stuff like that. But sometimes that harms them. It comes back. They have a vice, whether it's coke or food or women, and so they can't keep that in check forever. That's the point.
yeah.
Ties would be correct. What? Ties would be pissed if that were correct. If what were correct? I don't understand. I don't understand you. Anyway, so. Oh, you're talking about if the Lumpini was only for yeah. I don't know that that's um, I don't know if that's true. Should I be on this live stream? That's up to you.
Actually, come on, because then I could uh, get off.
You can get off anytime you want, man. All I have to do is say I need to go.
I know, but I'm so hungry right now, man. I'm telling you.
I see. You're hungry. I am hungry also. To be completely honest, where was I going to go today? There's somewhere I was going to go. Oh, I was going to go pay. I was going to go take you guys up with me and go pay my internet bill because I just go up sometimes and I use their little machine. They got a machine. You don't even have to deal with anybody. The place is
Yeah.
always the place is always no. He means get on. There he is. There he is. How you doing?
There he is.
Yeah, now you
There
can
he is. Miss America. Oh no, it's not Miss America. Sorry,
now you can
I
go
can tell
eat.
the difference. Yeah, now you can go eat if you want, soy dog cowboy. Trying to set this up here, like Jeffrey.
I just slid my computer off the table.
That's not good.
That's definitely not good.
So what's happening there in your neck of the woods? You've got a paper hanging over your camera
Oh, that's my stupid.
or something. It looks like a paper. I don't know. It
My
doesn't matter
shelf.
really, but
Yeah, that's what
figured you'd want to know.
Cabinet.
So, Cowboy, you have any final thoughts or any questions for our newest guest here, Mr. Steven?
Mr. Stephen and I
Questions
are
or comment? Or are you just going to eat? That's all right. You can eat. Go ahead. I'll put you. You're semi covered up by my logo.
we're in the
So
same state, so enjoying the sunny weather.
you know what? Yesterday I bought 2 Florida oranges at the grocery store, and you know why? Because I miss Florida oranges. For some reason, I thought I got a hankering for having a nice, big, juicy Florida orange. So
Yeah,
today, when I go home, I'll be having one of those.
I eat the halos. They're easy to peel, and they're like what are they like? Mandarins, I think.
Anyway, so what's happening, Steven?
Just it sounds like I'm getting some feedback here. Can you hear?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe because your
Yeah, I hear
microphone's
double
near your
voices.
speakers.
Yeah, something's weird.
If your speaker is too close to the
Oh,
your
there we
speakers
go.
are too close to the microphone. Yeah.
And now we're better.
All right. You're loud and clear.
Yeah, everything's fine.
So are you in Florida right now, or are you
Yes,
in?
I am. I'm
You
in
are.
Florida.
There you go. So
It
we got
was
3 Floridians in here. Everybody's a Floridian.
it was 80 degrees today. I was went and worked out, went to the pool, had a massage. Everything's good.
Yeah,
Can't beat
I,
that.
I too was at the pool today. It was beautiful.
Yeah, just a gorgeous day.
Ah,
But yeah,
well,
I did get the shot, and the big baby that I am, I do have a red spot.
Uh, don't worry about it.
I'm not going to worry.
well, the thing is, if it's your time, it's your time. And
That's right.
somehow I don't think the virus, I don't think the virus or the vaccine, I think that, it's a small percentage of people that, um, that it really affects seriously. And so I think, for the most part, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to live your life in fear and fear everything. Oh, I'm not
No,
going to get the shot because I'm scared. No, people who, I think a lot of people that are leery of getting the shot, like I'm leery of getting the Chinese, um, vaccine. And I think rightly so. Um, Other than that, though, no, I'm pretty much fine
Yeah,
with anything, because I don't think that there's some malintent from the medical community around the world that's saying, well, we want to kill a bunch of people, so this is how we're going to do it. I just
no.
don't think that that's,
Hey, Stephen,
what the hell is this?
was it difficult to get the appointment?
no, it wasn't. It initially it looked like it was going to be, but where I ended up going was over to the old fairgrounds in Tampa,
Right.
and about 30,000 people were there.
Crazy.
But what was crazy, it was kind of confusing going in. You had to drive your car, and then they check all the paperwork. But
Right.
once you got in, the medics were running it,
Right.
and it
They
was
know what
like
they're doing.
clockwork then. It was
Yeah.
like bang, bang, bang. The
Yeah.
military really did a good job.
Well, that's really what should have happened from the beginning is
Right.
enlisting the military because they know about logistics. They know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an appointment. I couldn't get one down here. I'm not old enough yet, and I really don't have a comorbidity that a doctor would give me. So I'm going back to New York in April, end of April, and I made an appointment in May. I have an appointment to get a shot. And what's interesting is that for that one, I did say I had a comorbidity, but by the time I get there, that's going to be lifted. There will be no. I think from what I read, starting in the end of April, they're going to eliminate all of the requirements. You could if you want the shot, you can get the shot.
Yeah, I just heard that too.
Which is great. So
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a good thing for everybody. So yeah,
I
so
wish they just let the hospitals here just start importing the vaccines because there's a lot of people, including myself. Listen, they want to charge me $100 for it. I don't have a problem. $150 to go in, boom, pay the thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd rather not spend it, but you know what? If that's what it takes, then it's boom, it's done. I'm good at least for this year. And then hopefully that will help in anything that I want to do in the future. The thing is that like how long are they going to make people have to have COVID insurance and a fit to fly to get into another country? I mean, how long is that going to go on? Because
Yeah,
that's a bit of a pain in the ass, not to mention an additional expense. You know,
that'd be crazy.
Paying damn near $2,000 for insurance, or $900 or whatever it is. That's ridiculous. Just so you can
Yeah,
go somewhere else, and it's like, all right, well, what about my insurance is really good, so it covers this and that. Oh, but your insurance isn't on our list of approved insurance providers, because they want to, they got to make the scratch, whether it's through kickbox backs or whatever it is, recommending certain insurance companies,
exactly.
So, I
That's,
have my, I'm still, I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. The vaccinations are a good thing. But, I still think it's going to be a while. And, how long? I think it was who was it? Um, Where's he at here? Let me see here. Oh, Carl said that he thinks it's going to be 5 years before things are back to normal, and that doesn't sound too far fetched to me.
yeah, I think a lot of it is about control. It's really about
Yeah,
control.
it's become political more than medical, and
Yeah,
and I don't like that. I don't like what I see what's going on in the United States. I don't like any of it. When it comes to the control, and not only the United States, but the UK, Australia, numerous other places. I really, who likes it?
yeah,
The people in power like it. That's it.
yeah. That's it.
You know.
I was just talking to my brother, and he confirmed what Soy Dog's talking about. He's over in New Jersey, and they're going to do the same thing you said. They're just going to lift everything and let people take the shots, and
Yeah,
that's
they
where
want
he's.
to get the elderly first, which is
Yeah,
understandable. Most of the
yeah,
people that are dying from it, and you know, and now that they've had their opportunity, and plus there's going to be an influx of vaccine. All these manufacturers are like working with each other because they're getting paid to do that.
yeah,
So, next month it's going to be a flood of vaccines in
yeah.
everywhere.
Exactly.
Maybe in the U.S., but I don't know about
Oh,
here.
It's
yeah,
going to
no,
go
You
from
know.
one extreme to the other. It's going to be rare, and
absolutely.
then it's going to be so much overcapacity. That's crazy. I
I
was talking.
agree.
My brother was telling me too, which he's in the container business, shipping, and he has Asia Pacific as part of his area. But he was telling me, and I didn't realize this, but because of the COVID and all the stuff that's been going on, bringing containers now. When I was, still doing a lot of the shipping business myself, a lot of it was like $2,500 to $3,000 for a 40-foot container. He was telling me today on the East Coast, it's now as high as between 12 and 15,000
Jesus.
per container, and on the West Coast, runs around 8 to 10,000. So it's
Damn.
dramatically changed. And what's happening, like everything else with Amazon and all these other people, that business is just profiting like crazy because of this. It's absolutely insane. But
Yeah.
so there's a lot of
It's
other
all about the money.
variables. There's a lot of
You
money
know.
being made through this whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of money being lost also.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting wiped.
So
And I do a lot. I've told you guys before. I do a lot of trading, and I do a lot of commodity trading and real estate and stuff. But if you look at oil, and as soon as Biden was announced back in November, I started buying into oil, and the price of oil has gone up $20-$25 since he was announced, and anyone who has been involved with that has really done very well. So, I mean, there's a lot, all the oil companies. If you look in the U.S. now, we hit $66 a barrel on West Texas Intermediate on Friday. Hell, we were in the 30s last year.
You remember they thought it was going to go to zero.
Yeah. It actually did for one day. There was a
Crazy
market fluctuation. You could actually buy oil for under zero.
Yeah, they just need to get rid of it, out of their reserve. It's hysterical.
But he's totally shut it all down now. So what's going to happen? It just starts interfering with anyone who didn't go out of business. Now the shipping costs, because of rail cars, any kind of shipping, is all starting to move up. It's going to take a little while, and it'll move up. So the people who maybe survive the first wave of it, they're going to take a shot, and anyone in the Midwest is going to get wiped because they all drive. So suddenly oil in Florida now, I don't know what you've been seeing, Soy Dog, but it's about in that 280 range, 285. And when I got here in November, I think I was paying $1.70. So it's already moved up about $1.
Yeah, that's what's here. About 285.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That when I left, a little bit before I left, I guess it was probably maybe 5 years before I left or something like that. I remember going to one particular gas station. I had a motorcycle and I put regular gas in it. It was 75 cents a gallon. Because I could fill it up for $3.
Absolutely
crazy. I mean, this is obviously a long time ago, but I always think of that. I remember that was down in Huntington Beach, and I would take my motorcycle over to this one particular gas station because they had the best prices, and for 75 cents a gallon, $3, I would fill up my gas tank, and I would go cruise around the beach and go have lunch and have a nice lunch, and for under $20, $15-$20. I would be able to go out, have a great lunch, have something to drink, fill my tank up, and still have some money left over.
Crazy. But when you look at the impact this stuff is going to have on business and things going forward, things aren't going to be as smooth as people think. It's going to have a pretty large impact, and you got to think of it. You really got to think of it long term. Where does the impact come from? Well, it's, the simple things are cost of shipping, cost of production, all those things. It's gonna change things, and I think food is going to become a big problem in the next couple of years. As Soy Dog's eating, but the
Jono's got to return a couple of VH tapes to the store. He and I are constantly talking about stuff. Remember when this used to be like this and that used to be like that? And, I know I'm not that old. You know what I mean? I act like I am. Now, physically, I feel pretty beat up. But that's, and my wife has no sympathy. She's kind of like, well, that's because you lived the way you did when you were younger. It's your fault, and I'm like, thanks a lot, for reminding me. But, I know I'm not that old, but I mean, I'm old enough now where, when I talk to somebody like Jono or yourself or, a few other people, I realize, like, holy shit, like, before there were phones, before there were cellular phones, when you had to dial your phone, and you had to dial the number and wait for it to come back, and then dial the next number. And before there was, like, what was it that I saw the other day where it was? I think it was a David Chappelle skit from like 19 years ago, where he showed some guy. They were doing like a team building or something like that, and he showed the first video game that was put in the arcade or whatever, the first one that they were talking about, and it was Pac-Man. And he got some guy who was an addict. He got him addicted to it, putting in whatever it was back then. He just had to keep paying and paying and paying so that he could keep playing because he was addicted to it. But that was Pac-Man, and I was like, I remember sitting down with my old man playing Pong, and we were so thrilled by playing Pong. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, the Space Invaders, and what was the other one?
Oh,
Space Invaders, and Yeah, Space Invaders and Pac-Man. Those were the
And
big ones. And
what
I still remember
Galaga,
playing
Galaga
pinball.
was amazing. Remember Galaga?
Yeah, Galaga,
Yeah.
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 That was
But I
awesome.
remember playing pinball before that
Pinball.
because I thought, wow, pinball wizard, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I think about those things, and I just think, Jesus Christ, you know, that's now you look at the people and everybody. And I said it the other day when I was on the Sky Train, and I was talking about how what the hell was I talking about? I just forgot what the hell I was saying. Jesus Christ!
Well,
There's
I'm
a
gonna
sign right
jump.
there.
Well, you bring it back. I'm gonna jump in. You know, my son's in sales, like I started out in sales and everything. Trying to explain to him that I used to spend hours sitting in my car with one of those dial phones where you twist the numbers
Yeah.
and you know they don't even exist, but I'd show him, yeah, I'd spend hours over there, you know, sitting there with my phone and hoping the cord was long enough in the wintertime to
Right,
come inside
right,
the car. He just looks at me and his eyes glaze over. He doesn't even know. I mean, he basically has had cell phones from the time he was born, you know, and
right,
you're trying
right.
to explain something like that.
But now I
Even though
remember that I was
you're not old, but the thing is the
right.
technology
It changes
changes
so
so
quickly.
quickly.
Yeah,
It's
but the
crazy.
other day when I was on the Sky Train, I think it was 4 people out of 24 weren't looking at their phones. The other 20 people, every goddamn one of them was glued to their phone, looking down at their phone. And, you know, I think of that and I just go, man, I kind of feel fortunate that I didn't grow up with it because, um, you know, it's too much sometimes. I mean, you know, yesterday I was walking back from the mall and I had some groceries and there was a girl. She was a big girl. I mean, you know, she was big. And so she took up a large part of the walkway up there. And, you know, whatever. But the thing is she's walking very, very slow. And then I'm behind her and then there was like 4 or 5 people behind me. We couldn't get past her because there wasn't enough room. And I was trying to say, excuse me, but she was so glued to her phone
Yeah.
that she didn't hear me. And by the time, you know, she finally did hear me, I was at the end of the walkway and she was trying to figure out, should I turn left? Should I turn right? And I just darted in between her and went, you know, but that's the kind of thing that happens all the time now because people are so distracted.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it now, if you go out to dinner, a lot of people go out to dinner with their family and their kids are sitting there at the table. They got to tell their kids, put your phone down.
Right.
Whereas, you know, like in my family, I grew up where everybody would sit down at the dinner table and you would have a conversation. Sometimes you would have, you know, spirited debates. Sometimes you would have a conversation that was in depth about something or whatever. And sometimes you didn't say that much, but we always were able to converse with one another because we didn't have that outside interference. We didn't even have the TV on, you know, because we wouldn't be watching the TV and having a meal together. We just had a meal. We sat there. We talked as a family, or we'd have friends over. I don't see that happens all that much anymore, unless it's an
No.
older generation.
But you know,
You know.
Scott, where that started was in Asia. When we moved to Hong Kong, we went over there, and in the U.S., no one had cell phones. It was like they had bag phones, things like that. When we got to Hong Kong, my kids were in elementary school, very young, but all their friends, all their Chinese friends, had cell phones. The cell phones had
No.
already hit back in the early 90s. They were already there. So
Hmm.
all of that started right where you're at because, as everything happens, when you look at China and places like that, any new technology is adapted right away because they only have old technology. So, you could go into, I can still remember going to stores in the early 90s in Beijing or Shanghai, and literally they're using an abacus to count the change, and then three
Yeah.
months later you go back to the same store, now they have electronic cash registers. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
blowing how fast. But where you're at is where everything changes dramatically, or at least
Yeah. What you know? What's funny is that sometimes I'll say something to one of my kids. I'll go, I don't know about this. All right, you gonna take off?
see you
Yeah,
later, man.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
All right. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything
Glad
I
to
wouldn't
relieve
do.
you for a while.
See you later. Oh shit! What happened? Oh, what did I do? Add to stream. Add to stream. How come? There we go. All right. Now that's a little better. Know what happened there? When I left San Francisco, I was paying over $4 a gallon for my BMW. Now I don't drive it. I just take the BTS and MRT.
Well, hell, it's got to be close to $5 a gallon now already. It's going fast.
I mean, listen, a car in Bangkok to me is a headache.
Yeah.
If not for any other reason than, like, the only way that I would have a car in Bangkok is if I had a driver.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, well, she doesn't have her hair up today. Hey, I'll make a. Wow. ผมยาวอ่ะ Wow, I didn't know. Hair's down to her ass. She had it up in like little pigtails or whatever yesterday, so it's different because I never see the girl with her hair down. I didn't know it was that long. She got hair down to her ass. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why anybody would really drive here other than, you got a car. I got a buddy who's got a car, and what he does is basically when he wants to go somewhere, if he's just going around town, he doesn't usually drive because he can get a taxi or whatever. He
Much
can take
easier.
the SkyTrain. Much easier. Now, if he's going to go out, sometimes he'll say, I want to go for a drive. And I used to go with him all the time. We'd just head out and then we'd start driving and he'd get on the freeway, in a direction where there wasn't much traffic out towards me. And we'd just drive for a couple of hours and then turn around and come back, or if he wanted to go somewhere, up country or something like that, he would drive. But other than that, I wouldn't want to drive in Bangkok, man. It's just too crazy. Too crazy. And if I had a nice car, I'd be worrying about, getting it dinged up and, just
when we were in Hong Kong, I had because we had a company car, had a Camry, and, it was the same thing. Why do I have this when I can take the MRT or taxi? But you know what? It was because I was in a British office, it was all status. You had to have, because of the level.
They got that status thing here.
And I used to drive
that
in
Hong Kong
around. And back in the early 90s, Scott, I was paying $220 to fill it up. Can you imagine? That was already back then because they don't want anyone driving. I mean, it is insane.
It's kind of like in Singapore where they make it so expensive to have a car.
And you can only drive certain days a week in Singapore. My sales guys,
and you have to
they couldn't do it.
You have to get on a list to buy a car, and to get the proper documentation and everything. I don't know how it is now, but I know one particular guy who used to just complain about it to no end, and he'd be like, I want to get a second car, but it's too goddamn expensive,
It'd be stupid, really. There's really no need.
So,
and the motorbike is too dangerous.
Yeah, I get on the motorbike once in a while, and then I tell myself, what did I do that for? Because, when you're older, and even when you're young, it's hard to bounce back. But when you get older and you're, more stiff and brittle and, your body can't take as much damage.
Well, think about it. What was it? 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were on that island and you were on the back of the, you almost bought it there. The guy almost ran you into a truck or something.
Oh, yeah. That was, what is it? Bang something. I forget. Bang Chan or what? I forget the hell name of that. But Krang or Bang. What the hell was the name of that place? I can't even remember.
I can't remember it.
But yeah, that's I remember that. And, all it would have taken is that he didn't see or that car didn't stop, and that would have been the end of me.
And like you said, when you get a little bit older and you take a fall like that, you're not going to recover too fast. It's just human nature. I see Carl
Yeah.
said his driving will be with a golf club.
Yeah. Was it Bangkok-chan? I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Bonka-chan.
Bangkok-chan.
Well, you.
Lori, you made it home. What's
Oh, there she
happening?
is. She's in the U.S. or
How's
is she in
life?
Thailand?
She's in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
So, yeah, she's been back for, I don't know, a week or two, something like that.
I have a property, or we have a property in Maui. I've had it for 20 something years. I haven't been there. I just rent it out.
Well, that's good that you can rent it out. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, Hawaii's easy to. Lori will tell you it's pretty easy to rent anything out there for the most
Huh.
part.
Well, you've missed a pretty mellow stream, Lori. It's been very mellow today, very quiet, which is good. I like that. I like the mellow streams.
Lori on here. I'm glad I have a collared shirt.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking, who was it that I saw? What was the guy saying? He was like, oh, it was some show that I was watching, and the guy started talking about how in Thailand, oh, it was the Joe Rogan show, I think. He was
Yeah.
talking about, well, in Thailand, everybody, like, people, they don't care. They go in shorts and a t-shirt and they, flip flops, and that's pretty much sufficient for just about anywhere, as long as you're not like in a serious business situation. But it's pretty true. I mean, they're obviously, there are women here. I'm looking around; they're all wearing jeans or whatever, but they're not like dressed like maybe in Italy where they want to dress smart everywhere they go, or France or somewhere, the south of France. Um, it's like t-shirt and a pair of shorts and flip flops, and I love that because I
Sure.
grew up, near the beach, and I was always at the beach. And so that for me, that's like the most comfortable and the most relaxing that you can, when you start putting on a suit and everything. Listen, I like how I look in a suit most of the time. I like the feeling that, hey, I'm dressed up. I feel good, But then, listen, if I really want to feel good, I'll put a nice T-shirt on. I'll put a designer T-shirt on, you know. I'll put a
Yeah.
pair of decent flip flops, sandals, and leather sandals on or something, and I'll go somewhere like that. It's fine with me,
Well, you would have hated my office in Hong Kong. Again, we were a British office. You couldn't wear a sports coat. We had to wear suits every day. I
Yeah,
mean,
that would
I
suck.
have so many suits in my closet from those years.
Really.
Oh, it's
I've got
unbelievable.
three. I've got three, and I used to wear them when I was involved in boxing, and when I was working as a journalist a little bit, but more in boxing. And to be completely honest, I mean, yeah, it's nice when you're in a nice controlled atmosphere when it's cool
Yeah.
and you don't have much to do. Okay, that's fine. You just want to kind of stand there for a few minutes and then you go somewhere and you have a little meal or whatever. Okay, and then you go back. But to wear it all day, every day, fuck
It's like a
that.
sweat. It's like a sweatsuit.
It's a monkey suit.
But what was funny when it went reverted back to the British guy who was in charge left and the Americans took over. The first day I showed up, I had a sports coat on and no tie. And they
Yeah,
were all like insulted. They were attacking me. And I said, well, this is the way I'm going to dress from now on. What are you going to do about it?
must have been so hot wearing a suit in Hong Kong. I bet.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
awful. Awful. And, most
Carl
of the
says
guys,
he's only wearing his birthday suit.
that's a
Too much
TMI.
information. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't want to know.
I mean, but again, a British office, it was all about the pomp and circumstance. The higher level you were,
Yeah.
then you got certain right. I mean, it was crazy. You had your different washrooms, and I mean, it was absolutely insane.
Well, it's just like it's business everywhere, but especially in Hong Kong and places like Singapore.
Yeah,
Here, you if you see like a group, like I see it here in Starbucks, and I've seen it, in my wife's office and stuff like that. people will come in. They're all dressed in a similar fashion. They've
Yep.
got like gray slacks on and a blue shirt, blue
Sure.
pinstripe shirt, and a gray jacket or something. And then they'll have their black shoes and black socks, and like everybody is dressed almost the same.
Yes.
That's the office attire. And I've just never been into that ever
No.
in my life. Listen, if I got to wear a suit once in a great while, like, I was in a movie a long time ago, and I went to Cannes, and I had a couple of nice suits that I had made here in Bangkok, and
Sure.
it felt good. I went down there, and it wasn't all that hot at the time, and I had my suit on, and I had my, or I would just wear. Sometimes I wore a pair of jeans, and I just put a jacket on, a sports jacket, and it was great. But that was a limited time, and I could do it whenever I wanted. If I really wanted, I could just wear, a collared shirt or something, and that was it. I'd be fine. It'd be a short sleeve collared shirt. I didn't have to wear anything long sleeve. I just did what I wanted. I think that the difference is when you have to do it versus when you want to do it.
Yeah,
There is a difference.
we had to do it, and I think what was crazy is that you always, as Lori's saying, we looked fabulous, but man, you couldn't wait to get to the hotel at night when you were traveling, and
Yeah.
just get out of it and take a shower. And but yeah, we
Well,
always looked
you know what? I'm like that here now in shorts and a shirt.
good.
If I'm walking around and I'm out for a couple of hours, like now it's okay because I haven't been outside. But like, just from and it looks like it's going to rain right now, but it's very humid. But like, if I was to go out and I was walking around and maybe shopping and in and out of a taxi or whatever, in a period of 3 or 4 hours on a hot day, I'd be absolutely drenched. So when I get home, and it's the same almost every day when I go out, I get back, I jump in the shower. I gotta have a nice cold shower because it's so you're sticky and sweaty and it's just like
You really
miserable.
feel
Crank
good
up the
too when you
air,
do that.
crank up the air conditioner. Yeah, Bangkok for me is at least 2 showers, maybe even three.
Yeah.
Um, just because it's too goddamn hot. And that's the
Oh,
thing, Thais tend to be very, they tend to be very hygienic. They take it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know any Thai that I've ever been around that doesn't take at least 1 or 2 showers a day.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, when I did business in Thailand, in particular Bangkok, what we would do because the traffic was so bad is we would stay in a hotel and then operate in that area with customers, and then
yeah,
at night move to the next hotel and then operate in that area. That way,
right,
we weren't doing the kind of traveling you're talking about. We would do a quick cab or a walk,
yeah,
and that was
yeah,
the only way to do it. Before I got there, what the guys were doing was, just again trying to travel to places and go. I said, no, you set the rules. The customers will do whatever you want them to do, as far as
mm,
going and visiting them. But if you allow them to make you go to southern Thailand and Chiang Mai and then back to Bangkok, and I mean, all you're doing
oh
is
yeah, that's
traveling and
ridiculous.
wasting time. So
Yeah, you
that's
need to set it up. I mean, I even do this when it comes to what I have to do in the city. I don't go out and go somewhere and just say, well, I'm going to go over here because I just feel like going there. No, it's I'm going to go to a particular area because maybe I have an errand to run in that area
sure.
and I want to go see somebody and I want to go pick something up that I can't buy out in my area. So I do everything at the same time in one trip, and that way I just get it done in one day. I don't have, and because of traffic and pollution and the heat, I don't want to be out multiple days anymore.
No,
It used to be as soon as I woke up, I'd go out and I'd go do something. Now I'm, like, listen, I'll order in if I have to.
yeah. We're happy to see that Lori takes 3 showers a day.
Yeah, that's always good. Ties take a shower morning and night and before and after. Yeah, I mean, listen, and the thing is that when I lived in Phuket, I'd go jump in the ocean sometimes, and then I'd come back and I'd be like, I feel all salty, and I'd spray, I take just a quick shower and get all the salt off me, and then later on I take another shower, and you just do it out of necessity. And like sometimes I go home, and the first thing I do is take a shower, and then like later in the afternoon, if I had to go walk around like in town, like near my house, I'd go for a little walk, and I feel just like, man, it's so hot out, that I'm sweaty. Then boom,
Yeah.
right back in, and it just becomes a
The,
habit.
in all of Asia, the only place I ever felt really terrible was Manila.
Oh
Manila, I always
yeah,
felt terrible. It was always dirty there, and
yeah,
just really hot, and it just never. And maybe it was the way we traveled over there. I just never felt like I just never felt good. I don't know what it was, but it was kind of a strange. The people are great. Of course,
yeah,
everyone speaks English for the most part, but
yeah.
it's just they have a very difficult life there.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
I mean, and
I
that
think.
this is the thing. I've compared Thailand and the Philippines before, and man, did I get some shit for it. But it's not that I think that the people are bad there or anything like
No, they're
that.
not
I
bad.
think it's just the heat and the dirt and the pollution and the crowded, environment, and
Right.
then the traffic is miserable.
Traffic is
And I mean, like
miserable.
even going into the airport in Manila, I'm just like miserable when I get there. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, that I don't know if it's changed because I haven't been there in a while. But man,
Yeah.
I remember going to the airport and just going, man, get me out of here. I gotta leave.
Yeah.
Is
See,
Manila hotter than Bangkok? I don't know, if it's hotter,
no.
but it's filthy. A lot of there's some nice places, but for the most part,
Yeah.
um, it's just yeah, I don't even know
It's
how to
not any
explain it.
hotter. It's
It's
not
just a
any hotter.
different feeling, and yeah, the city is just
They
I
might
don't
have a
know.
little more humidity because they do have more storms, but
Yeah, that might be true.
Cebu is not bad. I
No, I
always
like
liked
Cebu.
Cebu. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've been
had an
there
office there
quite a
and
few times,
spent a lot
and
of time.
I used to stay at the waterfront.
Yep,
Uh, that was one of the nicer hotels there,
yep,
and that made it very nice. And
yeah,
I mean, it was a nice. Listen, I like Cebu.
yeah.
I've been to Angeles, I've been to Cebu, I've been to Boracay, I've been to
Sure.
Manila, and I stayed at the what is it, Makati Sheridan or something like that.
Yeah, McCarthy's not
Um,
too bad.
and yeah, that was all right.
It's more modern.
Not, yeah. But if you go in the wrong area, then but it's the same way in Thailand. Listen, you go to Klong Toei, if you're hanging out in Klong Toei, and you're going to be like, man, this place it wears on you, and there are several places like that, but for the most part, I think Bangkok is just a better place to live than Manila for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Some
yeah.
people don't understand that, and they get all offended, and it's like Jesus Christ, you know.
It's all in what you're comfortable. The thing with the Philippines, you can talk to basically everyone, but
Yeah.
which was always kind of nice. The language was not really an issue.
Mm.
Um, but in Thailand, where I really like it is in Chiang Mai up north, and I just like to be out of Bangkok, but Bangkok's where all the business is, so I always ended
Mm.
up being there, nonstop. But
Yeah.
it's the way
But
it
it's just
goes.
like anywhere. There are plenty of places in Chiang Mai or in even Pattaya or Bangkok where you
Oh
can
yeah,
go
oh yeah,
and you have a little you're at the end of a little area,
yeah,
a little street, or you're in some little village, and you get into your place and you don't know it. It's quiet, and you really don't know that anything is going on outside, and you're like, hey, you know what? Once you get home, it's great.
yeah,
It's not like some people in Manila or some people in like Klong Toei here in Bangkok, where you live next to your neighbor, but literally the walls are thin enough where you could stick your finger through them. So you hear everything going on, and you have no privacy, and and that makes it really tough. Between
Lori's
being
talking about
filthy.
Micronesia was challenging. Probably the hardest place I did, again, I'm talking about from a business perspective. For me,
Mm-hmm.
the hardest place was Malaysia. I had to
Oh,
build a plant in Malaysia, and you had to hire somebody of the local people and things like that. But
Mm.
you just work with them, and it wasn't a problem. But it's very tough to get through the local governments initially. But once you did, and everyone was on board, it wasn't a problem. But if you dropped in there and thought you were going to be the ugly American and do things your way, that's one place that'll put you back on your seat, and no doubt.
Yeah,
But
I
if you
haven't
work
spent
with
much time in
everyone,
Malaysia.
yeah,
Only
if you
been there a
work with
couple of
them,
times.
yeah, I had to work in Kuantan. So Kuantan is where I spent a lot of time. I built a 150-acre site there,
Mm.
all kinds of petrochemical packaging plants and stuff. But it was in the end it was rewarding. But initially, when I got there, my guys are all saying, "Well, we got to do this, we got to do." I said, "No. The first thing you do is learn the local people and figure
Well,
out what the deal is. Otherwise, you're
one of the
done."
things I was just saying earlier today was that, like the question is will Thailand ever regain its former glory? Now, I don't particularly think it will, but one thing I tend to believe is that if you feel like you're going to come here and you're going to do things your way and you're going to
Doesn't
ram
work.
everything down the Thai's throats and
Doesn't work.
it's my way or the highway, it doesn't work because you are just one person. It doesn't matter, even the most powerful person learns that you need to work with them, and it's better to work with them and try to do things where it's win-win as opposed to let me
Yeah.
cram this down your throat whether you like it or not because I'm going to get what I want. That attitude doesn't work, especially here, especially in
Yeah.
Asia. That attitude does not work. And some
Yeah.
people have a
And
hard time accepting that.
Yeah, and I took a totally different approach, and as a result, I have great friendships for many years now, and
Yeah.
people that come to the U.S. That I know that come and visit us, stay with us, and and it's because I treated them the way they should have been treated. Not anything extraordinary, but that's what you got to do. You got to work within their
Parameters.
country and how they do it, right? The parameters.
Yeah.
Lori already made a mention that it's humbling, isn't it? I said, yeah, absolutely, it's humbling doing that.
Well,
But that's what
one
you
of the
have to
first
do.
things that when one of the first things I learned when I started traveling, and I started traveling with my parents, is always keep an open mind,
Yeah, absolutely.
and go into it and don't I thought it was this way. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do it that way? Because people are going to go, well, because we just don't do it that way. Yeah, but why not? And you may think your way is better, but for them it's not better. It's a pain in
No,
the ass. They may so and this is the thing. It's like you come to America, you do it the American way, and if you say things in the right way and you talk to people with respect and in the right manner, maybe you can, if you really have a better idea, then there is a way of going about and implementing your way or trying to implement your way,
absolutely.
as opposed to cramming it down their throat, which people just go, fuck you, I'm not gonna do it your way just because I think you're an asshole the way that you want to do it. And the same
Absolutely.
goes here. I mean, if you say, hey, let me show you something, you got a few minutes, let me see if I can show you this and maybe this will work out. Sometimes are completely open to change. um, so it's a matter of how you deal with people.
Absolutely.
That's how it is with the mainlanders when they come to Hawaii. They are not always respectful to locals. Well, and in Hawaii, I know my fair share of Hawaiians, or I knew, and you don't go to Hawaii and start being disrespectful because if you're the haole boy, the disrespectful haole, you're going to end up getting the shit kicked out of you. You know, they don't put up with that. They don't put up with that, and I don't think they should. You know,
No.
I like it that listen. I know how to deal with people generally, and you deal with them respectfully. I mean, I may come off in a certain way on in my chats or in my streams or on videos, but when it comes down to me dealing with people on a personal level, I think it's important that you always try to be respectful to people. You give them respect, and hopefully they will give you respect back. And
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
yeah, just today, for instance,
Uh oh.
that, what is it? Uh oh. We got
What
a
happened
story coming.
today?
We have a story coming. In your neighbor's
She
home, you have
must
to
be
do what
having.
they want to do. Yeah, exactly. Tell us about it, Lori. Oh, Mr. Monash, unbelievable. You're here. You're a busy man, though. I understand. This young group of tourists came across as though we are dumb. That always goes over well.
Yeah, that's a really good starter.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to go. Listen, um, it just goes. It's anywhere really. It could be in Hawaii. It could be in Hong Kong. It could be in Thailand. But if you start going, oh my God, these people don't know what the hell they're doing, and you have that kind of a mentality, like, oh, these people, don't they know about this? And like that doesn't fly, man, because they probably know a hell of a lot more than you think. And then you just come off as the arrogant American or the asshole tourist or whatever it is.
Oh,
That doesn't
absolutely.
fly with me whatsoever. Yeah, it's funny. That was
Yeah.
quick. Gee, why does that not surprise me, Lori?
Yeah, right.
Away from home. Let me see something here. Um,
That's not good. He's
well,
going to be in the hospital.
yeah, Stephen, that's definitely not good. Let me see something here. Let's see. Um, Buenos dias to everybody new coming in, or Sawadee Cup from Bangkok. It's good to be online here. It's nice to take a couple of days off every once in a while. I took those 4 days off last week. Man, that felt so good. I could have taken another one off, but then I would have been like, "Yeah, all right, let me take another one too. I want to take another one and another one and another one." And I've been saying, Stephen, I'm going to go down south in maybe 10 days or a couple of weeks, and I want some of my family to go with me, but they're all busy and they can't do things. So I'm like, well, you know what? I need to get out of Bangkok. I've always been the sort who I used to go out of Thailand like every 2 months just because it gave me a time to recharge my batteries and to refresh my thinking and it
Sure.
was just good to get away. And so now I haven't left Thailand since I came back from Hong Kong in December of 2019.
I was going to say that's a
Uh,
long time.
yeah, for me, that's a hell of a long time. For some people, it's no problem. But, for me, it's a bit of a long time. And I really haven't done all that much the way that I think. I haven't done all that much. And now, so I'm like, all right, you know what? I need a little trip. And so I want to go down, by the beaches in the south and go hang out there a little bit and just, you know, take my time and stream and shoot some video and shoot some photos and all that kind of thing. And I'm just really looking forward to it. Um,
Yeah, I used to go and visit someone down there. I remember when you first started years ago.
uh-huh. I'm awake. Are you watching Bonanza? Stephen, I wish you well. I was wondering, I thought you were just working. I was wondering how you're doing. That's it. Stay positive. It's not always easy to do, but stay positive. I'll send you some TP, Stephen. Hope you feel better. Yeah, I've forgotten all about the TP. And I need to clip out that stream the other day that I did. I don't know if you saw it, Stephen, if you were in there, where I was walking down the street. It was towards the end of my stream where I went to the Japanese guy's coffee shop and all that kind of stuff. Where else did I go? I went to the little place, the acai place where I had the
Right.
fruit bowl.
Yep, I
And
saw that.
when I was coming back, I went into the toilet, the bathroom, and whatever that place was. Um,
Yes.
I went into the showroom, and that one toilet, because it was not on promotion, was 215,000, and it was bought, which is $7,000, and the one next to it was bigger and better, and I was like, well, how come this one's so much cheaper? Oh, because promotion. So, well, how much without the promotion? 4 to 500,000 baht, depending on the features. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, that's like $16,000 plus for a toilet.
Yeah, but you know what, Scott? I looked up that company Divermit or whatever it was,
Duravit,
Dorvit,
yeah.
and in the U.S. you can buy any of their toilets. The most expensive I could find, unless they're not selling that brand, that type, but they were like between 600 and 1,500 at the most. And I don't
Wow.
know if it was the exact one, but it sure as hell looked like it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the most
Well,
expensive one they had.
there's no reason that you should pay more than about $500 for a
No,
Japanese toilet. More than that, to me, listen. I mean, I don't care how much money I have. I don't
you're
think I
not
need to
going to
spend
do that.
16 grand on a toilet just so I can put
No
my ass on it. You
way.
know. Thanks, Longhorn. Scary part is waiting for the whatever to be excised, and then hope results are benign. Hopefully, you're not talking about a hemorrhoid that might be cancerous. That was supposed to be funny, but Pang Mok. Damn. Yeah, that was a bit strange to see toilets that expensive. I mean, they weren't even like, it wasn't like they were gold or even gold
No,
plated. They were just porcelain toilets or whatever the hell they're made of. Um, Nothing special in my opinion. And
like
they
I
didn't
said,
powder
they
your
weren't that
ass.
expensive.
They didn't powder your ass. They didn't have music. They didn't have all kinds of things. And so I'm like, how is this thing so expensive? That's ridiculous. And this is the thing. The first thing I said was, look at this showroom. It's beautiful. It's multi
Yeah, it was.
floors, and it was a nice showroom. Oh, so beautiful. Who the hell's paying for it? Guess what? It's the customers. They're paying for it, and they're paying through the nose. So what they're doing is they're getting some Thai who wants to be able to say, I paid 500,000 baht for my toilet, and oh wow, he's super rich. That's what they want. They want to be able to
But you,
show off.
but
You know.
the Japanese, they reported to me when I lived in Hong Kong, and I mean that's like a whole episode in itself. But the thing is, like when they would do a trade show over there, I would give them an amount of money that we could do a trade show with, and
Hmm.
they would like do anything to go above that. It was absolutely insane. If you told them you could spend $50,000, they would spend 300,000. I mean, it was just insane because whether they were making money or not, they just wanted the big show.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted the big spot compared to the other competitors,
It's
and it
about,
was absolutely crazy.
look at me.
Right,
Look,
exactly.
it's about this show. Yeah, it's
Meanwhile,
about
I
the
said
external.
you guys aren't making 5 cents a quarter, but you're going to spend that kind of money. And it just
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Longhorn says, I've seen gold toilets. Oh, he's seen them in what? In Iraq?
Yeah, he probably
Like
has
the
one.
Saddam's residence or whatever. You can buy the toilet seat topper that's a little cheaper, Toto brand. It's not that I want the top. I want the whole shebang. I want the toilet that you turn it on and music plays, romantic, beautiful music plays to make you relax. Um, you set the temperature of the water. You can set the angle. You can set the, do you want it in sharp little jolts or do you want it in a fine mist? And then once you're done, it dries your butt crack, and then it'll shoot a little powder up there to make sure that you're nice and you smell civilized. You can get those kind of things, and I've used them in Japan, and they were fantastic. They were, what is this? They were far from the best Japanese toilets. Yeah, the ones in the showroom. You golden ass, you have expensive toilet, you have money too much. That's about it. It's like
Oh, you froze.
toilet inside is 500,000 too. Oh God, Lori, can we see? Here we go again at the end of the stream. We got to start talking about this. You wanted to serenade the turtle head. That's disgusting when I think about that. Really,
She
that is
was on a long
disgusting.
flight.
Jesus criminy. I want a Jap toilet. I want one too. But I know you can get a good one for like $350. You can get a good one.
Oh,
You just
heck
have
yeah.
to source it, and it's not that difficult to source. But there's no way in hell that I would. First of all, I can't afford it, and second of all, I don't want it. I
Hmm.
don't need a toilet that's $1,600 or $16,000. I don't need that. It's basically, listen, it's a shit pot. That's what it is. So why do you have to pay so much money to shit in a pot? I don't get it. If you think about it that way, it puts it in perspective. So anyway, well, listen, this is getting a bit long here. We're at three
Yep.
hours and 16 minutes right now. Steve, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, we're
Lori,
12 a.m. So time for me to sign out.
wow. All right. Well,
I'm in
I
the
shall
new
bid you.
day.
I shall bid you adieu. And until next time, I hope you're well. And yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk again. So thanks for coming in.
yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate
And a
that. We'll
safe
say good.
soy dog.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, forgot all about it. You did the save. So all right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
So say
See ya.
goodbye, everybody, to Steve. And
Yep.
all right. Well, there you go. Nice to meet you. Yes, Lori. I forgot you hadn't met him. Um, Lori, I don't know if you're going to be working on. It'll be Tuesday morning here. I don't know if I'm going to stream Tuesday or not. Um, Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure, but we have. I want to give a shout out to Joe, by the way, because he gave me a little contribution at the buzzer, and I guess I signed off. I didn't even see it, and I didn't give him thanks. So I want to say thank you to him, Joe. If you watch this, thank you. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to stream on Tuesday or Wednesday. A lot of stuff going on right now, and I don't want to get burnt out on the streams. This was a nice little relaxing, fun stream. So uh, all's well that ends well. We're in obviously in Starbucks here. You're off Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday here at 9 o'clock or whatever is what 2 o'clock. No, Tuesday. That's like 4 in the morning there, or is it 2 in the afternoon there? It's 2 in the afternoon, right? Or burnout is real. Listen, I'm burnt out. All right, I can tell you, I'm burnt out on videos. I'm burnt out on streams. I need a little bit of a break. Um, and maybe just having fun down in the south for a couple of days would be exactly what I need. I really hope one of my boys can go with me though. All right, so Tuesday morning my time. Like right now, it is Sunday at 12:20 a.m. p.m. Sorry, I'll figure it out. It doesn't matter. We'll work it out. Um, Necessary to step away now and then. Yes, it is. Oh, I can step away. I don't have a problem doing that. But anyway, let me get out of Starbucks here. Let me get the Starbucks do that. Actually, I could do it this way. Let me see how I do this. I can get rid of this. Let me see here. It doesn't matter. All right. Well, listen. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. It's been grand. How is this limited? Already, the freaking, you know, did they really hear music here playing in Starbucks? Unbelievable. 7:20 p.m. Well, if it's p.m., if it's p.m., it's 19:20. But all right. So, yeah, 5 hours behind, but the day before. 17 hours behind. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it. nice to have a little relaxing conversation today. I don't know what we're going to do in the next coming couple of days. I have no idea right now, honestly. Um, what's new? I never have any idea. It's fly by the seat of your pants. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the people who commented in the stream and who, thank you, Lori, and who comment in the comments section. Um, after the fact. And if you have not watched the latest quick little video of the taco joint, I'm going to give you the link rather. Here's the link. There you go. That's the link. You can watch that real quick. It's just a short one. I still need to put up Gustavia and then the second townhouse that my wife and I went and looked at. And I got a bunch of other stuff, but I'll get it together. All right, that's all I got to say. Lori, you take it easy. I will talk to you soon. Mr. Monash, I hope you're well. Take care of yourself. To anybody else who's watching, thank you for watching. Longhorns, stay out of trouble. And I will talk to you guys later. All right? Until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Choke D, Jerk Mai. Let's see here. We'll leave you with this here. We'll turn it around. Choke D, Choke D. All right? Let's see. Wow. Jerkin mine. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes. Gherkin, jerkin. Enjoy your day. I'm going to have a little bite to eat, and then I got an errand to run. A couple bills to pay. So, yes, I will see you guys later. Okay? Adios.